1 second. Alright, give me 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 1 second. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. What's up, people? Give me 1 second. Get myself on the screen. How's it going, Beto? JP. What's up, Cam Jam? I see Mick in there. What's up, Mick? Yes, thoughts go out. 1 second. 1 second. Get my other mic on. Alright. Let me switch my mic and I'll get myself on the screen. How's everyone doing? I have a feeling it's been kind of a rough day for a lot of us. Alright. That should be good. Yep, here I am. We got the chat on the screen. We're moving. I wasn't necessarily feeling the best myself today, but I will say once again, everyone got me in the Discord to get on stream. So let me just start off the stream. You know, if you didn't hear, unfortunately, Vibes from Vibes Aquatics passed away. I put a link in the description to the GoFundMe if you'd like to support the family with funeral costs. I did meet Vibes at the last Clash. I didn't know him personally, just beyond interacting with him in a few stream chats here and there, but I'm friends with a lot of people who did know him really well, super friends with him. And, you know, we were just watching the stream from Aquashella the other day. So big part of the community, and my condolences go out to everyone. I've said before, I'm terrible with talking about this kind of stuff on live streams, and I kind of try to avoid it as much as possible, but when it's this, you know, affects this many people, I gotta mention it. But yeah, just know my condolences to all of you, and let's try and have a good stream. Support each other in the chat. Let's be here for each other. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Again, put the link in the chat as well to the GoFundMe. So sorry to bring things down a little bit, but I just want to get that out of the way. I saw the people in the chat, so there's not really, it's one of those things. It's really hard to find any words, honestly. So, all right. Hopefully, hopefully you all are hanging in there, doing all right. I got an interesting one for us today. This whole Petco desk pets thing. It's kind of interesting. With Petco, recently we've been talking about, oh, they're really picking it up. They're stepping things up. They're improving things. And before I jump into that, let me read a few of your chats real quick here. Go. I had to make a bit.ly because the link was too long for the chat. But I just pinned the link to the GoFundMe. What's up, cat girl? Camden said I'm so broken-hearted. He was the sweetest, most down-to-earth person who would make anyone feel welcome. Yeah. Mix of life is like this is unfair, but we can all be good and care for each other. That is what Eddie would have loved us to do. Well said, Mick. All right. Please continue to share in the chat. I'm going to try and move on with the stream. I'm terrible with this kind of stuff, so please, I might keep reading some chats, but it's going to be hard for me to get through it if I get distracted and I won't be able to think. So I really appreciate you guys. All right, so if you could turn your mic up a little, please. Let me see. You think my mic is low? Really? Nick said, you're doing great, Nick. Tanks keep us together. It's what we all enjoy. I appreciate that. Well, then let me do my thing. And you guys do your thing. Holding it down in the chat as always. So, Petco has introduced a new thing. We've been sitting here thinking, oh yeah, Petco's on the up and up. And if you're not you haven't really gone to Petco's that much, they've been looking a lot better recently. Like the aquatic section a little bit ago kind of got renovated all throughout the country at once. It was kind of crazy, but everything changed. So if you go into a Petco now, it might look something like, let me see if I can get a picture up here. If you go through a Petco now, it's possible that it might look something a little bit like the photo that refuses to show up on my screen. Holy. Yeah, there we go. It might look something like this. Okay. I'm trying to find some more pictures of how it used to look. Let's see. But the point is, Petco, they've been stepping it up. They've been stepping up. Things look a little bit different these days. People actually buy some fish there. They say some positive things about it. Generally, it's not as much of a, oh, ew, you went to Petco kind of a thing as it used to be. That's at least my perception. Now, unbeknownst to all of us, when I first came across, someone sent a link about it in a Discord, this desk pets thing. And I'd be up on the press releases, the news of the different big chain stores. And I'm like, desk pets? I have not seen anything about this desk pet concept. So the only place that I could find information about this, of course, is online. I haven't even seen a mainstream article about it or anything like that. But of course, the place that I did find information about it was Reddit. So if you're still wondering what is desk pets, what are you talking about here? Steve said we were just looking at them 3 hours ago, in person, or what's up, Steve? How's it going? Big Steve in the chat. So if you're still wondering what the desk pets are, here you go. Here is a desk pets enclosure setup. And basically, it's this new marketing campaign brought together from Petco. It even says in the corner there, brought to you by Petco, where the pets go, in case you had any doubt who was responsible. And Below on some of them, I think there is some associated supplies with the pets that may be on the stand. So here's another picture kind of showing. I think there's like some sphagnum moss that can be below. Yeah, some sphagnum moss. Maybe that's some coco coir. I don't know. And you can see one of the things most highlighted as a desk pet are these Pac-Man frogs. There's also jumping spiders, and there's also tarantulas that you might see depending on your state, because I think a lot of those tarantulas and stuff are illegal in some states, I believe. So I think they're limited on that. Now, I do not. I keep fish. Okay, I keep fish and shrimp mostly. I haven't gotten into amphibians, which is another. That word amphibian is another trigger point for this, because if you look at the Pacman frog container, you might notice that they have them labeled as reptiles, which apparently, I'm hearing that Pacman frogs are indeed not reptiles, that they may in fact be amphibians. So some people are some people already aren't feeling the best about it just based off of that fact that they're listed as reptiles and that they're not. It's kind of like a red flag. You know what I mean? Now, Steve said it's absolute BS. They had tarantulas too. Diana said it's crazy and ridiculous. You don't have to be an expert to see it's a bad idea. Most buyers will leave them in the little boxes, like keeping a betta in a cup after purchase. So there's a couple things. There's definitely a couple of things I see immediately problematic with this. Having not a lot of knowledge about Pac-Man frogs, tarantulas, or jumping spiders. I probably know the most about jumping spiders out of the three of them. Well, the first thing is the whole desk pet thing, right? The marketing, desk pets. When you think of a desk pet, you're thinking this is going to take up a small amount of space. I'm going to keep it on my desk. Now, some of us have some decent sized desks. I've seen tanks, like 10-gallon tanks on desks. I think a lot of people, they don't have that much space on their desk. All right. So when you see an enclosure like this, I kind of had the suspicion that many people will keep stuff in these containers longer than they're supposed to be. They're desk pets. It's in this small enclosure. I don't know how much bigger they're going to go from that, but I have a feeling people will keep them longer in it than they should. The other thing is, some might argue it's temporary enclosures, right? So maybe it's not the best long term, but they're only supposed to be in there for a little bit. I don't know. I don't go to Petco and observe these things that much, but I have a hard time believing people are buying frogs. I feel like I've seen frogs sit places for a decent amount of time. Basically, what I'm saying is the turnover, people going to be buying these fast enough where you can get by with that excuse that's just temporary? I have my doubts about that. Diana said the reptile frog may have cost someone their job. Catgirl said, I'm clutching my metaphorical pearls right now. Yes. Okay. So that's the initial kind of premise. We got desk pets, and apparently Steve's seen them in person. That's kind of the craziest part about me. It seems like they rolled this out everywhere at the same time, or over the last month, because the most recent, oldest mentions of it I seen was about a month ago. And it kind of seems like they rolled this all out at once. And we go on stuff on Reddit a lot sometimes, but the times where Reddit is the most useful is when it's one of these Petco or Target subreddits, because the only people that post in those are people that work there. So when I was trying to find more information about the whole thing, I went to the Petco Reddit because I was like, the people that are working there are already having to deal with the consequences of this being a thing. So I want to go see like what their experiences are so far, what their concerns are going to be. What's up, Toonie Loon? How's it going? Toonie said I may have had a small tantrum when I saw them. Okay, good. So I immediately was like, all right, this is pretty crazy, but I feel like there's people that know more about these animals that will be able to have that are probably a lot more upset. Steve said, I'm saying 75% won't make it long enough to outgrow the container. They will dry or not feed them. I bet 75% of the animals won't sold in 6 months. They're specifically marketing towards morons that don't know or care, don't know better or care. I agree. I think the marketing is a big. Even if you could argue that the care isn't that bad, I think the way they've positioned it is prime for terrible things happening. And I think the other thing about it is, like Steve said, these are some of the employees is that they have instructions not to keep them anywhere else. They're not supposed to have a cup of water in there with them and things like that. I mean, the frogs especially, these are things that shouldn't dry out. It's going to rely on employees constantly maintaining these containers to be the right humidity. They don't have heat. I don't know what the temperature, tolerances for the frogs and all the spiders are, but like, these aren't in controlled environments. So I'm assuming it's going to take a lot more maintenance on a day-to-day basis just to make sure these things survive. Then on top of that, one thing people were posting about, which I didn't even consider, and the reason I didn't consider it is because it's not a thing, is the fact that anyone can walk up to these enclosures and pick it up and move it around. Now, it's not like with the betta cups where there's like water and things like that. And even the betta cups, I don't know, that's kind of like a more established thing. I could see a lot of people picking up, trying to see where the frog is. Like, this is some burrowing stuff. The bettas, you don't really have a hard time seeing them in the cup. I feel like the frogs and stuff, they're going to be trying to look around to see where it's at. They're going to be shaking it around. The spiders, kind of the same thing. This label kind of takes up a lot of the front, I feel like there's going to be a decent amount of stress on some of these things just being out in the open all the time with people messing with them. And then theft is apparently a big concern because, again, think about it. Most of the time, you can't just go in and pick up an animal from Petco. Most of them are locked up. It's not really a thing where you can go and just mess with an animal in Petco. So I think that's also that's something I never even really thought about. Like, now there's the frogs in a container. You can go. And Steve said I opened the containers, not the spider wood. That's crazy. Big Steve said the marketing like this is an accessory. It's an accessory, a decoration. What's up, Jorge in the chat? He said hello to everyone. Hello, Nick, Dwarf Cyclidia. What's up, Dwarf Cyclidia? Mika and Beto, JP, KJ, Catgirl, Steve, Toonie, and Diana. What's up, Big Jorge in the chat? Yeah, so I think there's a lot of issues, and people already steal bettas to quote-unquote save them. That's bettas. These things are going to fly off the shelves. Another reason why theft might be a bigger problem is, like, at least the bettas, most of them are, like, not that expensive. I mean, they have some of these frogs listed at, like, $60. Rare. So, here's one post from a Petco employee. Said, desk pets equal temporary torture. I also saw someone call them death pets, which is that one. That one is just sitting right there. That one's just sitting right there. Death pets. Okay, they said my store got in the desk pet shipper. They left it empty for days. So this is another thing. A lot of people have been posting that they've not been putting out the desk pets because they're like so against it. But when the higher up people come to visit the store, they got to. So they knew the district manager was coming, so they put the frogs and one singular tarantula out. Within 3 days, he was bald. 3 days of being on the shipper, 3 days of being picked up, shaken, moved around, and messed with and stared at. I offered a cricket 20 minutes till close so I could monitor to see if he would eat it. As soon as I shut the lid and stepped away so we can hunt, a customer picked the container up and started spinning it around his hand like a basketball so he could watch him eat. So this is an example and of some of the things that people have to deal with. Another thing is the instructions. So they come with a little bit of substrate and things like that. They're not supposed to add anything. They're just supposed to mist it. They're not supposed to add water cups, is my understanding from what I've read so far. This person said, we got written up by a district manager for reptiles not having water available while we clean their habitats. But apparently amphibians are totally fine, and in fact, corporate requires it. Make it make sense. Which is kind of hilarious. They say the reptiles, they get in trouble for that. They mark these as reptiles, so you'd think they'd have the same requirements. What's up in the flesh? 186 said you can only hope whoever buys these are responsible owners. I'm a cup half empty kind of guy for the most part, so I'm gonna have to leave you to the hoping. I don't know about that one, man. Whoops, that's the wrong photo. That's the wrong photo too. All right. So another thing that's kind of weird about this. Oh, and here's one of the jumping spider enclosures, by the way. Which I think the jumping spiders probably need some amount of moisture as well. I don't know. These kind of just look terrible, I'm not gonna lie. But you can definitely, people are definitely gonna just pick these things up, spin them around, try and find the thing inside. It's a disaster, I think. I'm trying to pull up Petcos because for us to understand if this is animal abuse or not, I need to figure out, I don't know that much about Pac-Man frogs. So let's look at the Pac-Man frog care guidelines from Petco themselves, okay? Let's see if this matches up with the enclosures that they're selling them out of. In the Flesh Aquatic says Petco can't even take care of the fish section. Homestead Reptile said, thinks about the number of people that are going to come steal those things right in front of the door. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the posts and comments on the change.com petition, which we'll go over. Some people are just talking about theft. And one thing I didn't realize was such a thing, because I don't have any reason to be aware of this. Buying animals or stealing animals to like abuse them is a really big thing. I don't know why. I forget, there's like this one town where like the Petco had to stop selling those like hamsters or something because people kept like buying them to like, I don't know, hit them with, play soccer with them or light them with fire or some shit. I forget what it was, but like it is a thing. So I know we already have the bettas, and bettas and cups definitely get stolen too, but this is like a totally different thing. Like frogs, tarantulas, I do think it'll attract a whole new market of thieves. A whole new market of thieves. It's right there. You pick it up, you walk out, and some of that may be also people who are in that like, I'm gonna save this animal crowd, which I have mixed opinions on. I think there's gonna be a lot of people motivated to do so. Homestead Reptile says, not quite abuse because they're still young and they could live in that enclosure for a while because they're babies, but they need to be upgraded to a 10 or a 20-gallon long. Now, my question then in response to that is, all right, can they live in here with this? Like, are there humidity concerns? Are there temperature concerns? Are there, are there kind of animal that gets stressed out and then refuses to eat kind of concerns? Because those are the things that I would think about. I wouldn't want to put, the bettas and cups are one thing. There's plenty of fish that if you put in something like this, where people are messing with them all the time, they wouldn't last very long. So here's the care sheet from Petco. Here's the shopping list, which I don't think they include all of this down here, and they've highlighted the stuff that isn't included in the desk pets enclosure. So the needed supplies for a Pac-Man frog, according to Petco, is an appropriately sized habitat, a book about Pac-Man frogs, substrate, moss, water dish, hideaway place, plants, under tank heater, UVB light, vitamin supplement, calcium supplement, cricket keeper, and cricket food. All right, let's just look at this enclosure. See, yeah, I'm definitely not seeing no UVB light. I'm definitely not seeing. Is there a heater underneath this cardboard? That's not like a fire risk to me. I don't know about that. Let's see, what else did they list? Plants, yeah, I don't see that. Hideaway place, I guess. Water dish, yeah, they don't have that. So, okay, ask an associate about Petco's selection of books on Pac-Man frogs. Wow, they even sell books about caring for them. This is crazy. Steve said they did have a 10-gallon complete setup for sale that was $484. It had everything, supposedly. Well, the thing, I think that, like, that's another thing. Some of the stuff, like those kits, I believe it's employees that are just taking their own initiative to make stuff like that. Like, I don't think Petco was like, hey, make sure you put together this kit with all those things. Like, I'm pretty sure employees put those kits together and come up with them. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's nice. Are most people going to buy a $484 complete set? Probably not. They're probably going to buy the temporary enclosure and keep them in there too long. I don't know. I'm trying to find a better picture. Here we go. Here's a better picture of the full cardboard thing. And then I want to finish reading the care guide, but just so we could see all that's included. So this one does have a habitat at the bottom with some stuff in it, which is, I think that's nice. Homestead reptiles earlier, I believe they said they'll need to be upgraded to 10 or 20 gallon long. This seems to maybe fit that. That looks like it's probably a 10 gallon-ish. I'm not too familiar with the more reptile enclosure dimensions. I see some sphagnum moss. We got some tweezers. We got some different foods. Got some substrate. And that's where they would go. They say the average adult size is 4 to 8 inches long. Average lifespan 5 to 7 years. Will reach adult size in 6 to 12 months under ideal conditions. That's pretty fast. That's pretty fast. 6 months to 8 inches. Holy. Because all frogs are potential carriers of infectious diseases such as salmonella, always wash your hands before and after. All right. All right. What else? What else in the care sheet do they say here? Diet. They need some insects. Okay, feeding. Fresh, clean, chlorine-free water should be available at all times. Well, that's definitely not the case. It totally could have been built by the employees. It wasn't a professional-looking display. Well, think about this. We're on the internet, like, upset about this and stuff. There are people in person that are upset about this, probably going into Petcos and letting the employees know how terrible it is. And they're probably like, oh, well, we know. But we're doing our best to maliciously comply or make things better, but we can only control so much. Diana says, is a desk pet to keep on your desk? How many folks have room on their desk for a 10 to 20 gallon long tank? That's what I'm saying. Overall, because like Homestead Reptile said earlier, I think there's plenty of ways that they could argue, and there is a statement from Petco's vet that I'll read where they defend this practice and say it's totally fine. But overall, I think the thing they can't get around is this desk pets marketing. I wish that these enclosures had like isopods in them. Man, that would be nice. Imagine if this had an isopod in it. Be totally cool, man. Be totally cool. Some little isopods. Like this would be much better than the death cups from Josh's frogs. You know? I don't understand, and also I'm not totally familiar with the care of these, but I believe they, probably would be better off in a temperate. But they just started selling the blue feigning death beetles. I just started seeing those at my Petco, which I thought was cool. But like, you already sell some stuff I think would fit better in a temporary container like this. So I don't really understand. I mean, tarantulas, maybe, I guess. Jumping spiders, maybe, I guess. I don't really get the frog, the Pac-Man frog, why they landed on that. Let me see if I can find a picture of the... Excuse me. Doesn't frogs need to jump? Do they need to jump? Apparently not. I think the lack of a water container in here is one of the things off their care list that I'm feeling like might be the most important, because here it says they're supposed to have access to water at all times. So if they don't have that, then they're relying on misting, which I feel is putting a pretty big burden on just employees being on top of that, which that's just a room for error that maybe doesn't need to exist. Homestead says Pac-Man frogs are mouths with legs. They get big. A large female is the equivalent size of a Whopper Jr. It doesn't sound like a desk pet to me. It's not the employee's fault. I don't like it when people blame them. Yeah, for sure. If you're that guy with the Tanks for Nothing channel, he makes great desk setups, Lisa Wolf said. Okay. Big Steve said, it's amazing to me this got past marketing department, the research department, final approval. No one said, man, this isn't a great idea. Bro, it is wild to me this whole enclosure got put together. Like, they had to, like, assemble this, make it standardized so they could send it out to every single Petco. I didn't see any, like, press release about it. I haven't seen that much of them posting about it. So I don't know why they pulled the trigger on this in such a big way. Like, it's everywhere all of a sudden. It feels like maybe you should... Maybe they did test it out at a few locations, but I don't know. This seems like a risky move to me. I don't know if this is going to work out long term. Or at the very least, they might have to replace what they're putting in the desk pet shelves. Cody says, the desk pets are crazy. I saw them the other day. It definitely shows how little Petco as a company cares. Well, let me get through this care guide they put out for them themselves, just to highlight how it does not measure up to what Petco themselves recommend. And then we got to get to the statement made by their head vet guy, because there was an official statement to the internal complaints about the desk pets. But for housing, it says the habitat needs a hiding area, needs to accommodate Pac-Man frog with normal behavior and exercise, needs to be 68 to 80 degrees. I guess temperature, they might be fine then, depending. Lighting, it says UVB rays with full spectrum for 10 to 12 hours is required. Low-level UVB lighting is recommended, but provide hiding places to hide from light. So I think there's some nutritional benefit they get from the UVB. That seems like something probably would be nice for them to have. I'm trying to see what they say the humidity. Okay, Petco says the humidity should be 70 to 80% by misting substrate as needed every day. Substrate should be damp but not wet. Excess humidity can lead to skin infections. Okay, and here again they say provide a shallow open bowl of filtered water. Do not use distilled or tap water. Surrounded by plants that help make a soaking frog less stressed and for frogs to drink from and sit in. They need substrates that's easy for the frog to bury under and to help maintain humidity. And here it actually says maintain daytime humidity of 75 to 83 and nighttime of 70 to 75. So a little bit higher there. And if we kind of compare those things to this Pac-Man enclosure we're seeing, it's not really, it's not lining up. It's not lining up with their own care, guys. 70-80% humidity. Are these enclosures 70-80% humidity? They look kind of dry to me, but hey, shit. What's up, Jacob? How's it going? Because they're cheap, they're colorful, they're eye-catching like toys. Some of the frogs were $60. I guess that's cheap for a living thing still, but again, why didn't they just do this with like some isopods or something? Why does it have to be frogs? I guess I should be happy it's not like some lizards and some. I bet there's a lot of reptiles that famously are not treated that well in the reptile departments in like small pet stores, but it's just a weird choice. So here's Petco's official response to the criticism of desk pets. And this is from Brent Cattle, the Senior Director of Care Operations. Caring for desk pets in our stores. Okay, so that's at the top there. And then from Dr. Angela Silva, Chief Veterinarian. And Mick said, for me, that's a transportation box only. I think that's going to be the main issue is these got to be temporary enclosures. How fast are they selling the frogs off of these shelves? Because the thing they're instructing people is that they shouldn't be keeping these animals anywhere else in the store. So normally if you got a couple frogs or reptiles and stuff and they don't sell for a few weeks, it's fine. They're in like a habitat. But again, I could be out of touch. I don't know if Pac-Man frogs are selling super duper fast. Maybe they are now that they're desk pets and you could leave with them in an enclosure. That's another thing. Like when you buy a pet from Petco, not only do you usually have to ask someone directly to catch it for you, they might ask where you plan to put it in. You have like all those steps before you can actually take it home. Those kind of checks and balances, if you would, of you buying this pet and the employee's like, okay, now you have this, you can just pick it up, go to the counter, yep, I'm buying it, and you have a container for it to be in already. So maybe you did it, but you were just lying. You're like, yeah, I got a thing back home. Be like, I'm going to wait for something to pop up on Facebook Marketplace, and then it's sitting there on your desk, kind of enjoying it, whatever. You're putting it off, you're putting it off. Oh, the frog's not looking too good. Suddenly the frog is dead, you know? It kind of reminds me when the mall kiosk used to sell hermit crabs. That's true. I had one of those hermit crabs in a tiny critter cages or frogs in the 1-gallon tanks as tadpoles. I did have one of those hermit crabs when I was a kid, and I'm sure probably lived a much shorter life than it should have. Now when I hear about hermit crabs, it sounds like you got to get them a mansion and trim their nails every day or something. I don't know. Every time people that keep hermit crabs talk to me about them, it seems like they actually take a lot of work. So it's kind of crazy they're ever like that. Johnny Best said, what's up? What's up, Johnny Best? How's it going? Give me 1 second. Can you please? All right. Well, I like breathing. Okay. So, here's the official response from Dr. Angela Silva, Chief Veterinarian. At Petco, it starts with team. At Petco, the health, safety, and overall well-being of pets is always our top priority. As we welcome additional lovable companion animals to our stores through our desk pet program, we want to address animal care and housing questions we've received from some of you and clarify exactly what is expected of you when setting up and maintaining these short-term environments to guarantee a consistent stress-free experience for every pet. Petco standards for companion animal care are always thoughtfully developed and reviewed by our most knowledgeable subject matter experts. This is often done with input from our own veterinary staff and external experts in animal care, behavior, and welfare. Our standards for the Desk Pet program are no exception. They were carefully developed and reviewed to care for the unique needs of each pet. As chief veterinarian, I personally reviewed the Desk Pet Care Guidelines and want to reassure you that when adhered to, they support a comfortable stay at Petco. The temporary housing we provide for desk pets is designed to offer a safe environment for short periods of time these pets are in our care. The species selected were chosen for their specific short-term care requirements prior to settling in their new home with their forever family. To further support each pet's sense of ease and equip them to leave our stores with the best possible care, we've enhanced our protocols with specific comfort and education-focused recommendations, including specialized habitat enrichment, stress reduction techniques, and long-term care and husbandry guidelines. It's critically important that we're all well-versed in the unique needs and requirements for the pets in this program, both for short-term housing and long-term husbandry recommendations. So, what do you guys think so far? Are you convinced, or are you just so asleep from this corporate speak that you can't even protest anymore? What's up, Johnny Best with the $5 donation? Thank you very much, Johnny Best. W Johnny in the chat. Thank you, my friend. Cam Jen said, I'm so over this day. Love y'all. I'm praying for everyone. Thoughts going out to you, Cam Jam. JB says, wonder how many will get returned for a new one. Oh my God. All right. Attached, you'll find signage reinforcing with customers the importance of handling desk pets with care and setting them up for a future home. So they've definitely been, just with this whole response, you can tell they've been getting a lot of negative feedback from people working in their stores. Please print on large generic cardstock and display vertically in a large promotional sign frame with shovel base and a visible spot on the desk pet shipper. Then I said, first time I've heard of a tarantula as lovable. Hey man, some people really love these things. So here's their care guides for the desk pets. Pac-Man frogs. Hydration. It's important you keep their habitats well misted and substrate moist. You can also add soaked moss alone or a small shallow lid to terrarium. Pac-Man frogs absorb moisture through their skin and rely on moist environment to maintain their hydration. However, standing water can present safety concerns for Pac-Man frogs as they're not strong swimmers. Please do not place a water bowl in the temporary desk pet habitat. This poses an injury and drowning risk to the frog. Now I'm confused because the people that keep these frogs, you gotta tell me, like, the care guide they put before, it says you should put a water dish in them. So now a water dish is a drowning risk. I'm very confused, okay? Because before, the Petco guideline says they should always have access to some water, some filtered water. But now, in this desk pet guideline, they're just gonna drown. Is there not like a shallow bowl that you can use they can't drown in, or are they really that prone to, killing themselves? Given the high humidity environment, the habitat should be monitored for mold growth. For long-term care, refer to animal care guidelines on appropriate water access, humidity, and temperature ranges for optimal comfort. Oh, that's great. These things might be growing some mold too. Oh, fantastic. Desk pets. Housing, okay, yeah, they're going on this. They do recommend a 10 to 20 gallon minimum for newly purchased frogs. And we should highlight our starter kits located on the shipper. They're printing copies of the care guide. All right, here's some other FAQs. By the way, I like the jumping spider and tarantula right here. Hydration. They do not require standing water dishes as misting creates droplets along the habitat and provides a natural source of water they enjoy. All right. So here's their other FAQs on the desk pet program. So this is, I do feel like they have to have plans to, or at least when they started this, have plans to expand it to include more animals, honestly. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. There's also been a push of getting animals into more workplaces, which I think this is connected to. Let me see if I can find when and where that was. they had a pets at work initiative at some point, which I feel like has to be connected to this. Because think about it, desk pets. What's the first thing that you think about when you with desk pets? Well, work. You got a lot of desks. Come on. I'm working at my desk if you have one of those kind of jobs. So desk pets kind of makes a lot of sense. All right. The desk pet program is a curated selection of species specifically identified for their ability to thrive in a more compact environment. Here we go. They have a page on their website. It's time to go pet friendly. Join the revolution for pet friendly workplaces. I don't know how old this page is, so they're drawing statistics from 2021, but it's within the last few years. In a recent study, 69% of pet parents said they were worried about returning to work without their pets and hope their office will go pet friendly. So this is talking about some dogs and things like that. Companions in the workplace. One lizard did make it in. One lizard did make it in the pet workplace collage. Okay, so they're chosen for their ability to thrive in a more compact environment. Lisa said, the first place I set my tanks up in 2021 was around my desk so I could de-stress while working remotely. Yeah. Well, a lot of places are trying to have people come back into work now. So I could see how, hey, you had this pet at home, maybe you can bring it with you. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people are retiring right now. They're like, come back to work 5 days a week. And for people that are at the point of their lives where they can retire, they're like, yeah, maybe not. Anyways, these companion animals have unique husbandry requirements that allow them to remain healthy and comfortable with a smaller footprint, often with less equipment, making them the perfect companions for a variety of modern living situations. Man, this just sounds so terrible. Like, we've picked you exclusively for your ability to live in this 2x2-inch container. How big it is. You have a unique set of skills that allow you to persist with absolutely zero amenities. This program includes small pets, including Pac-Man frogs, jumping spiders, and tarantulas that were chosen for their specific short-term care requirements prior to settling into their new homes with their forever family. As we consider eligible species, we're creating more opportunities to introduce customers to unique pets and empower a new generation of passionate pet parents with the opportunity to start their journey in confidence and the right expert support. Mick says, saying they're suitable for compact environments is what ends this idea for me. Making it okay for customers not to buy a better tank for them. That's a good point. That's a good point, Mick. Because we know that everyone's always looking for a reason to justify going smaller or doing as little as possible. So I do agree that language is kind of telling of the truth of this. Chosen because they're suitable for compact environments. Why would you understand that being the attitude of the company and then come away with the idea of, yeah, I should buy a bigger enclosure for these? That's a good call out, Nick. How can we guarantee the safety of desk pets if they're outside inline habitats? Partners are encouraged to place desk pet displays in monitored, highly visible areas near the front of the store, so all customer pet interaction can be supervised. Stores should have received signage to display with habitats that reinforces customers that desk pets should be handled with care and request they reach out to the store partner for support interacting with their pets. Okay. Okay, here we go. So they're addressing the difference in Pac-Man frog care requirements. Why are the care requirements for Pac-Man frogs in the desk pet program different than those for inline Pac-Man frogs? The provided desk pet habitats are designed to be temporary. The pets included in the program are adequately housed in either environment. It's our responsibility as Petco partners to educate prospective Prospective pet parents on the long-term needs of each pet. Maybe you could start by saying things that they're suited for compact environments. That might be a good start to educating the potential customers. And the additional supplies that will provide a comfortable lifestyle for a Pac-Man frog within the specific temperature, habitat, and other conditions of their forever home. Use the care sheets and QR code care sheets available via petco.com beneath each habitat to ensure customers are equipped with information. All right, why are some inline animals getting heat and water but not desk pets? Here we go again. Desk pet habitats were designed with typical in-store ambient temperatures and humidity levels maintained within temporary habitats in mind. Given the unique environment of these temporary habitats, heat and standing water supplies you would typically see as part of an inline habitat are not necessary and could even be dangerous for desk pets. The fact they keep calling them desk pets in this over and over again, by the way, it's not helping. It's not helping. We've taken this whole category of animals and call it. It's kind of like glowfish, but like way worse, because you don't call it like this is a danio, or this is a blah, whatever. You're like, this is a glowfish. There's a whole group that they've put them together. These altered fish. Now we got this is a desk pet. Yes, this is a desk pet. Here's 10 species. I bet they're trying to build up to like a couple different species besides these 3, and they can call them all desk pets. That's what I think is the most concerning part of this. What are they going to choose next? Homestead Reptile said, I have a desk pet. It's a 15-gallon marine aquarium. Oh, nice. With macroalgae, hermit crabs, soft coral anemone, a clownfish, other marine cleanup crew. That sounds like a very nice desk pet. And 15 gallons is definitely a long way from whatever the hell this is. So the kind of people that are going to be drawn to this, they're probably still posting photos on Reddit like, can I put my aquarium on this solid wood dresser? They're probably not even considering actually putting something that big on their desk. Mick said, yes, desk pet makes them guilty here. I bet they will add a sticker on the boxes saying this is a transportation box. Something that says it's temporary probably would help their cause. There's something on the container that says this is a temporary enclosure. Please buy a real one. I'm not talking like printed on the sticker, like something that you can't remove from the container, that you cannot ignore. Will heat from computers affect pets if they're on desks? Now, before I move on, I guess let me real quickly read the change.org thing. Which, funnily enough, when I started the stream, it was like above 17,600 petitions. I don't know why now it's showing 17,594. It was at 600. So my title says 17,600 plus. Apparently now it's somehow gone down. I'm sure it'll go above that at some point, but that was just such a funny thing. I did not round it up just for convenience. So here's the petition. As I mentioned, 17,000 plus people have signed this petition. It says the new marketing campaign for desktop pets and its cardboard stand at Petco has many problems. This petition aims to show the company that the issues outweigh the benefits and propose a potential solution. The cardboard shipper has stores keep Pac-Man frogs and or jumping spiders and tarantulas on a little shelf. Rather than be in a climate-controlled environment with a key, employees will be required by the corporation to put the animals on the shelf and are not permitted to house them elsewhere in the store. There are multiple issues with this policy. 1. Lack of climate control will be stressful for animals, especially in areas with variable temperature and humidity. 2. Any use of cleaning products in the store near the display may negatively impact the sensitive respiratory system of the animals. 3. Risks of animals falling off the shelves if bumped. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Just like them being bumped, a shopping cart, or just a kid running around. Animals falling off the shelves if bumped and being injured or escaping into the store. Tarantulas especially are at risk of death if they fall. 4. Risk of pets or humans accessing the animals and causing illness or injury to themselves or the animals. Like mentioned before, Big Steve, he said he opened the containers. No one came running at him to stop to open the containers. As one of the other things mentioned, you can get salmonella from frogs. I think tarantulas, there's probably some safety issues there too with their hairs, especially if they're shedding them. I don't know if that's how airborne they can get. That seems like something, you might be allergic to. I don't know. Yes, I could see that being a problem with people injuring themselves touching animals also. Okay. Or causing animals to escape into the store. 5, live animals in small containers are more likely to be stolen, especially when easily accessible. In addition to issues with keeping animals on the display shelf, advertising frogs and tarantulas as good desk pets isn't accurate for most desk sizes. Most desk work involves a computer, which will put out a significant amount of heat confined to the area of an average desk. The enclosure will become too hot for the frog or tarantula, and then become stressed without access to a cooler area. Also, the tank size requirement for adult frogs are larger than that will fit on a typical desk if you need to work at the same desk. While jumping spiders are curious and don't mind seeing humans regularly, tarantulas and Pac-Man frogs remain to be hidden and are likely to stress if their habitat is on an exposed surface like a desk that gets frequent use. One possible solution would be to store the animals in appropriate climate-controlled areas and use the shelves on the cardboard shipper to display an example habitat or market ready-to-go habitats with decor already set up. Alternatively, you could have photos of the animals with a little blurb. Both of these solutions allow the store to make use of product displays they already have without creating additional waste. So I would say, I don't know what they're talking about with this whole heat from the computer thing. I don't know what kind of like radioactive ancient beast they're using, or if their PC towers like right on top of the desk blowing all the hot air from it out. I just think that probably isn't true for a lot of people, especially if it's like a laptop or something, or a single-use thing desktop. But I think that's why it was mentioned in Petco's official response. This must have come after this petition, because one of the FAQs is, will the heat from computers affect pets if they're on the desk? It's just such a specific question. I have to imagine it's from that petition. It says, no, they thrive in warm environments. They did not even go the route of, no, the computer's not going to overheat the desk. They just said, Pac-Man frogs, jumping spiders, and tarantulas love warmth, so we're good. All right. For the comfort of each pet, we carefully developed and reviewed the desk pet program. The minimal heat generated from computers does not pose a risk to the well-being of desk pets and their forever home. Lisa said, my desk tanks were 20-gallon and a 10-gallon and a 5-gallon. It was a big desk. Bro, what in the world kind of... That's a massive desk. That's a massive desk. Diana said, the homestead reptiles proves you're responsible. Many are not, especially when buying for their kids. Well, that's another thing. It being ready to go. It's different. When it's in the enclosure, I want to get that. I want to get that. You got to ask the person, come over. There's a lot more barriers. When it's like, I want to get this, you can actually pick it up and look at it. Be like, oh, maybe that is like a little bit cute or something. It's a little bit different. When can/should desk pets be transitioned into different housing if they are not sold? Let's see. Partners are expected to monitor the growth of desk pets in their temporary habitats. When they outgrow their temporary housing, pets should be moved into inline habitats that best suit their needs. For Pac-Man frogs, this would be when they double in size from when they arrive. So they do say if it's not sold, you can put it in another habitat. So for the Pac-Man frogs, they got to get double this size, and then they say, all right, it's been too long, it hasn't been sold, move it into inline. I don't know why you wouldn't, it just kind of seems it seems silly. If it can become a situation where you have to move it into an inline anyway, I feel like it's already a bad choice. You shouldn't be picking things that could outgrow the temporary enclosure you have them in to where you have to move them into a permanent habitat in the store anyway. Which again, I don't know. Isopods were right there. They're selling the isopod kits already. I'm gonna keep saying it. The isopod agenda. I don't know why they're picking these other things. They're small stuff you can put more appropriately in a tiny enclosure. Why are desk pet habitats different than what care sheets recommend? All right, they addressed that earlier. Basically, We don't care. How are desk pets replenished? Desk pets will be replenished with a manual allocation for first 6 weeks of the program. This allocation will take into account sales demands on hands, on orders, and shrink once available. Stores that are part of the desk program will not see an order on their weekly audit. It will be grayed out on the dashboard. All right. And it said this communication is being sent out to 1,079 stores. God damn. So there's a lot of stores that have the desk pets. No brainer for the agenda. That's what I'm saying. Lisa said the isopod agenda is my favorite phrase of the year. Come on, man. I'm trying to let Petco know. Steve says, do you know what temperature Aaron keeps his white worms? I forget the exact temperature, but he keeps them in a fridge for sure. He keeps them in a fridge for sure. So probably like, I have to imagine the 50s, right? Low 60s. Probably 50s. I just sent him a message on a Discord or whatever. Here's what some of the people, this is the Petco subreddit. Here's what some of the people are saying to their response. It said, they're quoting, why are some animals inline getting heat and water but not desk pets? Why is that a question we have to ask? Like, pretty sure shallow water dish and high humidity are not dangerous for Pac-Mans, but in fact, largely required. I do think it's really weird. They say Pac-Man frogs need them in the permanent ones, but in the temporary ones, it's a drowning risk. I just don't understand. I don't understand. My favorite part is when they say these containers are fine without heat, but then go on to say that they will be fine on a desk with a computer because they love heat and thrive in warm environments. Let's go. The cognitive dissonance. They're working overtime on these statements, man. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, but I don't value the opinion of a veterinarian employed by Petco in a corporate position. Yeah, I don't think people are understanding this at all. So the desk pet tarantulas don't get access to a water bowl, but inline tarantulas do? What's the difference? This is absurd. Someone else responds. Clearly, the desk pet tarantulas were explicitly told by corporate they have to go against their nature and that drinking the water droplets off the walls and the containers that they have will be fully fine with being misted in the first place. Wow. Cody says, speaking of the isopod agenda, I'm planning on ordering some aquatic isopods soon. Oh, nice. Let's go. Isopod agenda. That's what I'm talking about. Are there any aquatic? There might be some isopods in the tank I have on the screen. Wait, let me see if I can find them. Well, I know that they're there. But are they actually visible right now? 1 second. See if I can find one. Oh, yeah. There you go. There's some on the rock there. I gotta make this screen go away. Yeah, this is one. It's not like a... It mostly has the autos in there and some shrimp. But you can see on the rock in the middle, there's 2 right there. There's a pretty solid population of them in this tank. But there's a feeding frenzy happening right now in the middle, so that's where I had the camera pointed. Woo. I got the Ken's Fish food drop came. I ordered a bunch. I'm gonna put a lot of it in like the freezer for now. But this is some of the krill pellets that he had on there. I wanted some more like sinking stuff for some of the raspers and for shrimp. And yeah, the aquatic isopod. Oh, there's an aquatic isopod joining the food frenzy. Hold up. On the left there. Nice. Yeah. These guys are used to being in there with the bigger fish and stuff. So they're out and about. All right. Isopod agenda propaganda ending. Fishcapade said, Nick, are your newts fully aquatic? Was thinking on keeping them. Yeah, I have the newts that are fully aquatic, yes. The fire-bellied ones and the alpine newts. I think that the alpine newts, technically, they have like a time where they go out of the water, but my understanding is that's because they'll literally like die if they don't. So if you don't make things super cold, that never happens. But yes, there's some fully aquatic newts. Cody said, oh yeah, I read that. Homestead Reptile said, I recently got some aquatic ice spots. I'm telling you, man, look, I know, this is coming from a biased source, but I've been saying aquatic isopod agenda going all the way up. And I've been very happy to see them just like, more and more people all the time are discovering them. It's very exciting. In my takes, what type do you keep fully aquatic, Mr. Fast Talk? Alpine newts and the firebelly newts. I have the blue-tailed Japan ones. What is the Latin name? It's like Cyanoris synops, I believe. Or maybe I got that backwards. It's Synops cyanoris. Okay, there you go. All right. Petco desk pets. So there's a couple of things I wanted to take a look at. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is when I first heard about it, my immediate reaction was, I gotta go see all the videos people have made about it. But people have just started making videos about this. Like, there's not a ton, and the ones that have been made, like, they're all right, but there's still a lot of room, I think, for conversation. So I saw this one by Emzotic, which I'm not familiar with the channel
Animals
necessarily,
branded
but
as
just so we can get some more footage, a better look. Lisa Wolf said, oh, yo, I'm getting triggered right now. Lisa's trying to make me mad. Lisa said, why would one keep aquatic isopods? Are the scuds an isopod? No! Scuds are not isopods. Oh my god. They're nothing alike. Okay, scuds are amphipods. They're more like shrimp. I think shrimp are... No, I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, scuds are amphipods, for sure. They're not isopods. Get out of here, that scud agenda. Beto said, I've asked the same thing before. Who cares, JP said. Beto said, I heard there's a Scud Alliance or something. Yeah, okay. Well, don't invite anyone from the Scud Alliance to your house. They're probably going to steal all your silverware or something like that. But no, aquatic isopods and scuds are quite different. For one, the isopods are cute. For two, they don't swim, they crawl around. For three, they're completely shrimp safe, fish fry safe, fish egg safe, plant safe. They don't eat that. All the negatives of scuds, they wash away. Okay, they just wash away. Isopod supremacy, Wasabi P said, yes. So my overall pitch is one, cuter than scuds. They run around. They're very cute. They jump off of things. Easier to manage, more beneficial. There's like no negatives, man. There's no negatives. They do make a good live food too. They're a lot easier for things to catch and eat. You know, downside for them. Good side for you. Great pea puffer live food culture idea, by the way. If you have pea puffers, I think aquatic isopods, fantastic culture to have for them. But it's an aesthetic issue. No, it's a moral issue. Scuds eat baby fish, baby shrimp, live plants, fish. They eat everything that's good in this world. Okay? They eat everything that's good in this world. Meanwhile, aquatic isopods, they're upstanding citizens. It's like asking why I like someone that doesn't have 18 felonies, you know, how I don't like them. I prefer someone who has a clean driving record, maybe 1 or 2 speeding tickets, never killed anyone. That's kind of what we're talking about here. The aquatic isopods, for the most part, they're good. They're good kids. The scuds, I compare them to mass murderers, the serial killers. What else would I compare them to? I'm just saying things at this point. Lisa Wolf said they ate my moss, so I gave them a better roommate. So you're asking me why I prefer isopods, and the scuds have already ruined your life. You had to introduce something to slaughter them, to prey upon them. Now, this is what I'm talking about with the scud apologists. They want to ask me why I hate scuds so much. Well, the scuds will eat you out of house at home. This is something a scud would do. I read on a police report nearby, there's this lady, she got in a car accident. They said a family member arrived to the scene. She carjacked her family member and ran into a few police officers. That's something a scud would do. The scud's the kind of person you show, oh man, you okay? You okay, man? You got in a car accident, let's get you BAM! They punch you. They steal your car. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's enough. Do scuds eat baby aquatic isopods? It's possible. I mean, they're going to do the most damage when they're not getting enough food. But they're very protein hungry. They definitely compete with each other. But whenever I've seen isopods in the wild, there's usually scuds with them. Is a roly-poly an isopod? Yes. What most people know as a roly-poly, there are isopods, but those are like terrestrial ones that roll up all the way. Okay. Let's move on. Let's continue with the... You guys got me being all silly. Look at this Big Mama shrimp in the middle. Is that a ghost shrimp or a white neo? That's one of the Snow White Amano shrimp. All right, let me get back to the desk pets real quick for a second. That means isopods eat doo-doo then? No, not necessarily. Here we go. So, here's some more footage from the desk pets. This is Emzotic. I'll put the link to this video in the chat.
Desk pets, and no, this is not satire.
I wish it was.
I'm animal educator.
Lisa Wolf said, man, I thought it was my spouse ruining everything. Turns out it was scuds. That's what I'm saying, man. This is how insidious they are. And just imagine you let that get between you and your spouse. Scuds ruin lives. They break apart families. This is what I've been trying to raise awareness. Thank you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Holy.
Former zookeeper, and I work with one of the best reptile companies in the world. So I view this peculiar marketing decision through a pretty unique lens.
Oh, he's pooping. He's pooping.
When I first saw people sharing these images online, I genuinely thought it was a joke, because surely nobody with a degree sat in a corporate meeting and said,
let's market live amphibians and spiders as desk pets.
But
I'm just gonna say, someone with a degree, someone with many degrees probably sat in a room and said those exact words, okay? Let's not act like morals over money is a widespread problem. If you made it to the room, to the Petco room, and you got your veterinary degrees and stuff, I'm pretty sure the first thing you're looking for, I need these sales to justify my paycheck. We got to run the animal sales numbers up. Desk pets. Fish Capay said, desk pets is a Petco thing? Those damn frogs get dinner plate sides, will eventually eat mice and rats. On your desk, though. You can watch them do that on your desk, though, right? Beto said scuds are like the P. Diddy of inverts. Okay, hold up, bro. Hold up. I'm taking that a little bit too far. Taking a little bit too right. I said they're mass murderers and serial killers, but come on. Freak-offs? No. Actually, 186 said, excellent night for big water changes and breeding. Pause, perhaps? Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
meeting and said,
let's market live amphibians and spiders as desk pets.
but then
Wasabi pieces. I'm not gonna comment on that.
I started seeing real footage, real stores, real displays, real animals sitting near checkout in these tiny...
Oh, so here's the jumping spider containers. Now, the jumping spider ones, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't kept them, but it seems like they are typically kept in relatively small enclosures, so maybe these are the most fine ones out of the three.
Tiny branded containers. And at that point, I knew I had to go and see this for myself.
Yo,
because
did that sign say Petco Total Care? Ew. Yo, I'm going to Petco. Shit. Is that where you go to save your fish or euthanize them?
That point, I knew I had to go and see this for myself. Because if this is really how these animals are being presented at pet stores in 2026, I think we need to have
These frogs do look kind of cool though. This green pattern with the black spots.
a little talk about it.
Alright, so let's not hit the dance moves.
Petco exotic animals, primarily Pac-Man frogs and invertebrates such as tarantulas and jumping spiders, sold in tiny branded...
Now, I'll say at the very least, this box, it does look humid. I see the water droplets the spiders are meant to drink.
enclosures and typically displayed near the checkout.
And that is concerning.
Because when animals are marketed as tiny, decorative, beginner-friendly companions, you create a huge risk of impulse purchasing. And impulse purchasing is one of the biggest welfare risks when it comes to any pet. So today, I'm visiting 2 Petco locations to see these desk pets in person, test the customer experience, and figure out
I don't worry about that, Mick. I'm not trying to go too far down the path of scud hatred. You know what I mean? I gotta limit myself. But I can take it there.
About whether the internet outrage is justified. So I took Cuba out for a walk, left him at home with one.
Alright.
Still,
Petco
there they
location
are,
number 1. So
right?
she went to multiple Petco locations to look at the conditions of these desk pets.
by the checkout. This is prime impulse buy territory. This is the same zone where customers make fast, emotional decisions on items that are usually seasonal or on clearance. And seeing live animals merchandised here is honestly jarring. Petco tried to recreate the Reptile Expo Deli Cup energy in a big box
Ew.
retail environment.
That's gross.
It reminds me of the plight of the beta fish being kept for weeks. Some environment.
The funny thing
reminds
is,
me of the plight of the
do you guys think comparing this to the cup beta fish is a good comparison? It's a genuine question, because for some reason to me, they don't feel the same. I don't know why it feels different to me. Maybe it's just because bettas have been treated like this for like 1,000 years, so it's just not, it's more of a familiar concept to me. But also, Fishcape says, take home this desk pet, upcharge for the packaging, of course.
beta fish being kept for weeks, sometimes months, in shallow deli cups, a choice which most pet chain stores have been and are still heavily scrutinized for. So this move is a boldly tone-deaf one. Pac-Man
Yeah, it really is kind of crazy.
frogs do not stay this tiny. They're essentially a mouth with feet, and their whole mission in life is food. Because of this,
Hey, a
they
mouth
grow
with feet, that's
very
what Homestead
quickly.
said.
They need humidity, substrate depth, heating considerations, hides, fresh water, and species-appropriate husbandry. This enclosure may function as a temporary transport packaging, but it is not a long-term setup.
That's a good point, Mick. Mick said bettas don't need to jump and or become bigger than their container. That's a good point on the fact that at least with bettas, they're not going to grow to the size of a dinner plate. I guess that is one of the things that's different, for sure.
And if these frogs don't sell quickly, many will likely outgrow these tubs while they're still on display. And
Homestead Reptile says not really, because no one keeps the betta fish in the cups. That's a good point too. I feel like the betta fish cups is more understood. It's temporary. I do think these desk pet enclosures how they are right now, even if people might necessarily know better, I think a lot of them will keep them in these enclosures because, for one, just that whole thing, I'm going to do it, like, I'm going to get a bigger enclosure eventually. When they grow a little bit bigger, they're fine. They're picked for their compact, being able to withstand the compact enclosure thing. Like, I think all of that comes into play, and it is more likely that they'll be kept in the container they bought them in than the bedded fish for sure.
And then I noticed something that rocked me so deeply that it practically rearranged my DNA. These frogs are labeled as reptiles.
Huh?
Frogs are amphibians, not reptiles, as it states on the...
That's honestly the biggest, like, how are you going to take anything seriously this after that? I don't even care about nitpicking that much, but man, they printed reptiles on this sticker and sent it out to 1,000+ stores. That's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. No one was like, hey, these things are not reptiles, they're amphibians. Again, it's a little bit of a nitpick for sure, but it just kind of, it shows a general incompetence that is concerning.
The Petco label. And whilst that might sound like it's nitpicking because maybe the average person knows, not everybody does, and that's okay. But if you are a store selling live animals, new keepers look to you and your informational leaflets and printing and marketing to learn their first basics about the animal that they're looking to bring home.
I needed to know more about this decision by Petco. I needed to be a prospective customer. I wanted to see what safeguards existed for these animals and what guidance would be given to me as a customer. Would I be asked questions? Would anybody verify that I had a setup at home or help me to pick the right products?
Mick said, a pet store naming them reptiles is hilarious, TBH. Mary Oliver said, hey Nick, hello everyone in the chat. What's up, Mary? How's it going? All right.
I was unprepared for the lack of help or education that I was given by this particular store. And I have to stress that because the vast number of people who work in pet stores are genuinely trying to do right by the animals and the customer.
I asked a store employee for help with the frogs at the front of the store, and they seemed confused, like they had to think about it for a moment. I asked to see each individual frog since they were buried. Another odd reason to market these desk pets at checkout, because you can't see them without digging for them.
Asking for them to dig for each individual frog who could see them. Yeah, this is a nightmare. As an employee, this is a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. Mary said, I saw this girl with a purse bedded display so she could take it shopping. Maybe I'm wrong, but looks and sounds like we're back a year or two. Yeah, there was someone that put a betta in a purse that was going around a bit ago.
To be clear, I'm not trying to blame all frontline staff. They are often underhelped, undereducated, understaffed, underpaid, and working within systems that don't make any sense or are outdated. And the system behind the desk pet is fundamentally flawed because it assumes that the customer will assume responsibility for everything. And that is risky, as we shall now see.
I was literally able to walk around the store carrying this frog, and it occurred to me how easy it would be for an animal to become misplaced, abandoned somewhere, mishandled, or otherwise put at risk.
She just put the damn frog container on the gravel. I guess that's true. If you're supposed to grab them and take them with you to buy, you're probably going to carry them around when you shop or put them in a shopping cart, and I guess that is a risk for them being set down places and forgotten too.
Risk. And in case you're wondering, nobody stopped me to check if I had anything necessary to keep this frog alive. In fact, if anybody impulse bought this amphibian at checkout, they'd have to go all the way back to the other end of the store to find the right products. It's an entirely flawed system.
All right, let's see what store 2 was like.
So I went to my usual Petco to see how things were in that. Have a kiosk near the checkout in the impulse section. Theirs was near the reptile section, and it was empty. I had to know more.
I was reading.
All right, so this store apparently said they're not going to participate in the desk pets thing. So some stores are saying we're not going to do that. Good for them.
Desk pets are still being rolled out in stores, and Petco released a bizarre internal explainer from their chief veterinarian. It sounds like a bunch of excuses to me, and contains a lot of conflicting information when you compare it to their own in-store care policies for Pac-Man frogs.
At this point, I think it's pretty obvious what Petco is trying to do here.
I'm not gonna lie, these enclosures look nice for other things though. I would love to use these for some smaller stuff. Some isopods, maybe some springtails or something. I don't know, those holes are a little bit big, but yeah, I don't know. I still can't. The decision to put frogs in these is so confusing.
Retail has changed in recent years with the introduction of online shopping through Chewy and Amazon. Why visit a store and drive there and spend the gas and haul everything up to your...
Oh, yo, the frog's in the corner, like, he's trying to escape. Like, bro, don't put me on camera,
Why visit a store and drive there and spend the gas and haul everything up to your tiny little Boston apartment when you can just click a few buttons and have everything arrive to you super conveniently? So
Mary said, by the way, I'm number 14, the 14th like. Oh, thanks, Mary. 186 said they're aggressive eaters and bite when handled. Are you talking about the
these
frogs?
traditional brick and mortar stores like Petco, they need to provide something different that a customer can't get online. Live animals, excitement, discovery, hands-on experience. That I completely understand is a real challenge. But if I were Petco, I wouldn't have approached it like this.
Oh yeah.
All right. Another shorter video I saw on it that I liked. This is from Snake Nook. Oh, wait, Homestead Reptiles. Homestead Reptiles, you didn't tell us you made a video about this. Well, hold up. Is this the same Homestead that's been in the chat? It's gotta be. What's the chances? Yo, let's check out Homestead's video on this. Hold up. I'll put the link to that in the chat. Holy, let's see. Mary Oliver said, my Petco, you can buy fish or animals online, but must pick up in the store. Oh, wow.
There's new product lines. So this is the desk pet. So they have Pac-Man frogs, and they also have invertebrates. So these Pac-Man frogs range from like $20, $40 to $60. And you can see like how they have these set up. So you got your Pac-Man frogs on top and their supplies on the bottom. Then there are also the invertebrate line of desk pets, which I think the invertebrate line is actually pretty fine versus the frog line. So they have these advertised as these enclosures are appropriate for this animal's entire life expectancy, that they're not really going to outgrow these things. So those Pac-Man frogs you see there are juveniles. So in about like a year and a half, they're going to be about adult size. And Pac-Man frogs are not small frogs. They're very fat. They're very wide frogs. So a female can get wide-wise thickness about 7 inches. And that's pretty big, like a small Whopper.
Damn.
Whopper Jr. in a shoebox. Not really appropriate. So these guys are pretty sedentary. They don't move around.
I gotta interrupt because I saw later in the video he's got the fish tank you mentioned before. All right, this is what I want to see the desk pet that you mentioned.
Pac-Man frogs could be a great desk pet, just not in that enclosure as a permanent.
Oh, this is cool.
Habitation. We're putting my gargoyle gecko back in her enclosure. So these are
cool
juvenile setups. It would be like me selling this as a
permanent Homestead got some legit
gecko,
setups going on.
But it's not.
All right, here. Oh, this is the desk pet. Here we go.
So
Mick said 100% cute gecko.
this is my desk pet. This is Pennywise, my clownfish. She's in a 15 saltwater cube, and she has macroalgae, different species of macroalgae, rock anemones, some starfish, hermit crabs. I needed snails of a lot of different varieties. I need to get some more hermit crabs and some more snails. But this is
Look
my
at
desk
'em
pet.
go.
It's a relaxing ecosystem for me to look at. I enjoy watching it.
Got the
But this is
wave
what I
maker.
think of a desk pet. When I'm thinking desk pet, I'm thinking more aquatic and not
This is a
reptile
lot less
or
depressing than
amphibians.
the desk
I like
pet
reptiles, I like
enclosure.
amphibians, but I want something active, growing, and just little creatures
Well,
popping out of
macroalgae is
woodwork so I can
awesome,
look at
man.
it and admire. I
I
prefer
almost,
saltwater to
it
freshwater
almost
as a
looks
desk
like
pet.
just a freshwater planted
But
tank
again,
with that
it's
zoomed
not
out
that
with
reptiles I like.
the red. I know nothing about tanks, marine fish and the requirements. So Mary was asking if it was a small tank for a clownfish. I have no idea.
Is gonna make these animals fail 90% of the time.
For one clownfish,
you're probably going to see a lot of these
imagine
animals get returned.
fine,
A lot of these animals are probably going to die.
I don't actually know.
Just because the way
Tank
they're
looks
being
cool,
marketed isn't the kindest. Like I said,
all right,
if
I put the link to this in the chat. Shout out to Homestead Reptiles. That's a cool video on it. Here's another one, Snake Nook. Show some more footage.
Welcome to Snake Nook. I'm Vanny, and today I'm bringing you along to my local Petco because we're checking out that desk pets display that people are talking about, that people are putting out on videos here on YouTube. I just saw a video on that and I said, oh, I've got to go check this out at my local Petco. We're going to talk about...
Is this in America? It says rare tarantula, $150. Wow. I mean, I don't know. Buy tarantula. I guess I don't know how much tarantulas cost, so I have to actually check. Okay, so some of these online ones are like $80, $90. It's not like a ton of places easy to nav that are popping up with like. All right, there's some more expensive tarantulas out here for sure. It does say rare tarantula. I don't know what that means though. Assorted rare tarantula. Do they not tell you the species? Mary says they have a lot of algae and live stuff in there though. Indeed. JP says great setup, Homestead Reptiles. People like the fish tank. Let's go.
About this display. I'm going to take you through it and we're going to talk about it. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's pretty busy here. This is Friday before the Memorial Day holiday. Here is a notorious desk pets display. It is an impulse buy display for people that are on their way to the checkout area. It is not like right next to the checkout area, but it is on your way there. And
oh, that's kind of crazy.
It is not like right next to the checkout
this
area.
One over here, and you see like it's got the webs and stuff everywhere. Wow. Homestead said it's a species of clownfish that doesn't get larger than a betta fish. Gotcha. And it looks like there's a species. This says Venezuelan green bottle blue Chromatoplema cyanosopubescens. Let's look up by Venezuelan green bottle blue tarantula. Let's see. Is there a place you can buy these out online? So this site, spidershop.com, whatever that means. This is selling one for $54 for a 0.75 inch, $58 for a 1 inch, $158 for a 3-inch female, and $248 for a 4 to 5 inch female. So that does seem pretty in line with the prices I'm at least seeing on that site because these are a decent size.
Area, but it is on your way there, and there are some people kind of in the
I'm not sure if I'm keeping a 5-inch tarantula on my desk, but
area, so I'm trying to be discreet here. These tarantulas and spiders are currently being held in habitats that are very temporary, and you would need to purchase a lot of these materials that are here, other things that are not included here.
Well, they got like nothing materials underneath this thing. Some mist bottles, some leaves, a coconut hut, a little soil.
A larger habitat if you really wanted to do all this in one go. Like if you wanted to take the tarantula and everything that you needed, you can pick it up here. You'd probably have to go in other parts of the store to get everything.
They got some kit enclosures there for $100.
Pick it up here. You probably.
I don't know what size. Oh, this looks like an official Pac-Man frog kit, actually. because it's got like an actual label. So they did put together some Pac-Man frog kits for this that are legit. I guess that's good, and they're setting them down next to it. So I mean, that's something.
Probably have to go.
Mary Oliver said, I'm going to Petco tomorrow with great grandson to feed the fish and turtles. I'll let you know if they had this because they normally keep all these in tanks. Yeah.
And other parts of the store to get everything you need. Look at this catchy phrase, all leap, no creep. That's actually kind of dangerous. It's a little catchy. People are looking at that. And,
all leap, no creep?
People can just, on their way out, they can see something they like here. And
I'm looking at a table that has frogs, spiders. And I'm thinking, all leap, no creep. There's got to be at least a little creep there. Come on, the tarantulas bring a little bit of creep to the situation.
And they think it's a kind of grab and go situation, but truly it isn't. If you're not doing a lot of research before you take one of these animals home, like this tarantula, you may not know what you're in for. Tarantulas kick up hairs when they feel threatened, and you can breathe those in, and that can be an issue for people that may have allergies, asthma, things like that. So they also have little jumping spiders, so you need to know what you're taking home, even if you just grab this on your way out to the counter area. These are Pac-Man frogs. They have two here, guys. They have a mutant Pac-Man frog for $100, and then they have this little cutie for $60.
They do look really cool, I'm not gonna lie. They do look cool. But if all they do is burrow, I don't know.
Come on. Somebody that's on their way out, they see something small because he is really little or she's really little.
And they look, the colors are so cool on them. You know people are gonna see that and want to get it immediately.
Look like they're a lot of fun because they're colorful, they're small, and yes, you have all of these things that you can take with you to prepare a larger habitat, to set up your Pac-Man frog, but this isn't everything you would need, so lots of research would have to take place that you probably don't have time to do when you're on your way out. So a little while ago, I saw Emzotic's video on this topic, the desk pets, and she picked up a Pac-Man frog and walked around her local Petco, one of her local Petcos, to see what would happen. So here I am with one of these Pac-Man frogs, and I'm going to walk around the store. I'm going to go visit the reptile area, and I'm going to see if anyone offers me any help. And by anyone, I mean any sales associates.
Yo, this is a terrible time to be working at Petco, bro. You got everyone and their mom's about to be a secret shopper. Let me pick up this frog and walk around the store and see if anyone asks me. And if they don't, I'm about to post about it. You know, they're all probably getting these meetings like, listen, guys, if you see someone with the desk pet, you better go talk to them and make sure they know what the hell they're doing. What a nightmare, man. I gotta, like, oh my God, bro.
If they ask me if I need help with the proper habitat, with the materials, decor, all that good stuff. Now, guys, what is concerning is that these frogs are labeled as reptiles. OMG. I normally don't have too many negative thoughts about Petco. I get a lot of my materials for my pets from Petco, but this left me speechless. This is not a reptile. This is an amphibian, guys. This is not right. I do not agree with that label.
Well, look, they did put some kind of cup in this one, so maybe people are going against the guidelines of not putting a cup in there. Do you guys think someone lost their job over this reptile thing? Someone had to have lost their job over that, right?
Whatsoever, that should not be there. That is like a very big mistake. So after walking around the store for about 20 minutes and only holding the Pac-Man frog, I realized that no sales associate was going to ask me any questions or offer any help on how to set this guy up. I didn't have a shopping cart or anything else, and no help was offered, no questions were asked. So who knows who is purchasing these little guys and caring for them or not caring for them. So it's not a good idea to have that impulse buy display on your way to the checkout counters. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. There were no snakes, and I do apologize that none of my snakes were in this video, but I thought it was important to put this out there. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we hope to see.
So Diana says Those tarantulas have hairs that can embed in your skin, inflame and causing itching. Fantastic. Also, Diana said, you can hardly find help that when you're in there as it is. I have to go find help for aquatic plants already. Yeah, has anyone had the experience where they go to Petco and they're just overwhelmed with the amount of help available? I think the Petco near me is pretty decent. There's usually someone to help, but it's not like they're the heaviest staffed place ever. I think this desk pet situation might have put a higher burden on the employees than they have the capacity to support. I'm not gonna lie. Also, Petcos, I guess all Petcos are laid out a little bit differently, but in my experience, it's not like it's some open floor plan. Like someone could easily pick this up and just have this box somewhere in the store. You might notice that someone picked it up. You're not going to be able to just hunt through the whole store to find where they are. And I do think there's definitely a risk of people picking it up and setting it down somewhere, forgetting about it somewhere in the store. Those are the kind of things that you just don't really think about until it happens, and you're like, oh, I guess that probably is an issue. Mary says, I think if you have the pet in your cart, the associate assumes you don't need help. Most people ask for help prior or look for an associate to ask. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help, honestly. You have to be proactive.
Just gravel. Like real, the biggest.
By the way, I need to learn more about reptiles and stuff, because every time I come across a reptile video, like, they look crazier than fish people to me, but in a good way. Maybe it's just the fact there's no water involved, you don't need the air and stuff, but I always look at the reptile rooms like, damn, that looks like a cool room. Like, look, she's got the acrylic stuff everywhere, and it's like the lights look warm and inviting, and the hardwood floor looks clean. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm in the wrong hobby, man. I'm not gonna lie. The reptile rooms sometimes we looking really clean, and they got some beautiful plants in there. Like, that's a nice, what's the one they always have with the dart frogs? I'm blanking. The ones the dart frogs like lay eggs in sometimes. I'm gonna Google dart frog plants. I know it's gonna come up. All Petcos I've been to have been terribly understaffed. Beto says, yep. C says the crazy part is if you buy a fish, they walk to the registers. They wouldn't hand me the bag. Bromeliad, yes. Bromeliads, you got the beautiful bromeliads and stuff. I'm getting more and more intrigued by the day. The aesthetic of clear acrylic with no water in it and plants. Big Steve with the... See, you guys know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Offenders of the pet industry, they're chain pet stores. Corporate chain pet stores. And when I say...
Do you guys agree with this?
Offenders of the past decade kind of go in a better direction, which is great. Now, one of the biggest offenders of the pet industry, they're chain pet stores.
Do you think... I've heard conflicting opinions on this. Do you think the biggest offenders in the pet industry are chain pet stores? Because I've definitely heard some conflicting things as far as reptiles go, with care being standardized and things being mistreated. Of course, right now with this desk pet situations, the chain pet stores are looking pretty bad. But sometimes I've gone to, smaller stores all around, the country, and every now and then I'm like, well, Petco, it would never even be possible for this to happen because they had this so standardized. You know what I mean? A couple fish are probably by number of pets, but mom and pops aren't always better with care. I think that's well said. Lisa said, I think reptile rooms are more smelly. Oh, that could be very true. Most of the fish rooms I've gone to don't really have that much of a smell to them.
Corporate chain pet stores. And when I say that, I am not talking about the employees. So many of the people who work in these stores love animals. They try to inform customers. They probably know more than like the corporate people making decisions above them, and they don't have control over what the business does. But it's good we have like real animal people working at some of these stores, because then they can kind of step in and say like, hey, steer them in like a better direction, because these companies basically create and market products or carry products that are not safe, not ethical for like any of the animals that they actually sell there. And a lot of these animals...
By the way, this video is from Tarantula Kat. So I wanted to look at someone that was focused on the tarantulas, because that's one of the ones I know the least about.
animals aren't really sourced the best either. And a lot of the information that they repeat is like either dated or just wrong. It's almost like these chain pet stores set their employees, their customers, and especially their animals up for failure. But hey, if your fish doesn't make it, that's another sale for them later. I don't think that they're as concerned about the long term of an animal's life than like the initial purchase. Keeping them maintained, typically it's not as costly as like your initial getting the tank, getting the heat, you know, all of that. I stepped into Petco today. I heard online about their little desk pet fiasco. We're gonna talk about that, but I did stop in, and it's so frustrating because I did feel like Petco was kind of like really moving in a better direction. I remember
That's how I felt too, man. I thought Petco, they're doing their thing, redid the fish selection. I thought it was cool to see the blue death feigning beetles in there. Like, I think there's some fish stores that are really behind. I know they want to focus on like fish and stuff, but I'm not saying you got to carry, obviously Petco carries everything, but I think there's some more fish stores that they could do isopods. They could do some of these niche small things and actually do them better justice, in my opinion. Because there's a lot of crossover in the hobbies, and I think there's more people that are kind of into things that like slightly combine the water and land and paludarium situations. So sometimes, I saw the blue death feigning beetles in Petco. I was like, this is kind of crazy that I'm seeing them in person at a store for the first time in Petco. Like, it seems wrong that this is the case. Mary Oliver said, my Petco is helpful. The manager is called if associates don't know. Instead of saying stuff, at least that's been my experience since COVID. Lisa said, the fish I've gotten from my local Petco have died more quickly than those I've gotten from hobbyist breeders and one of the LFS in my area. The other one isn't that great. I've only bought my stir-by cories from Petco, actually. That's the only fish I bought from Petco. And those are still around. I would say most LFSs, I would definitely buy fish from them over, but there's some I would buy fish from Petco first. Mary Oliver says, my Petco, if your fish dies or replaced free, it's not another sale for later, like she just said. Yeah, that's true. They do have a pretty good, which, you know, one could say might be a bad thing. They have a good refund policy. It's easy to get a refund for dead fish at Petco, but maybe some would say that encourages people to be careless. Mick said, can hardly smell anything these days. COVID got me. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I know a few people like that as well. It's kind of crazy. The world just has not been the same since then, huh? Wow, that was like 6 years ago.
I remember when I first bought a tarantula from Petco. This is like 9 years ago. I bought my T. vegans Houdini from a Petco. She came in this little contraption called a tarantula hut, which literally consisted of this like plastic arboreal like bottle with just a sponge and a fake leaf at the bottom, and that is how they would sell their tarantulas. It was pretty horrific, right? So if you go to a Petco now, or at least the one I go to, and you look at their tarantulas, they're actually set up very well. Looks like they're maintained great. I still don't love the names like fancy tarantula, and it's just like you gotta figure out what species it is and stuff like, but we're getting there. Like, it's going in the right direction, which is figure out what species.
You guys see this? That's a Petco with tarantulas. Is this? Wow, see someone talk about it. There's something about acrylic cubes that is just so, it's so nice to see the uniformity, I guess. But man, feeding things crickets regularly though, oh my god. I say that and I'm like surrounded by gross things I feed fish, so I don't even know why I opened my mouth.
People don't love the names like fancy tarantula, and it's just like you gotta figure out what species it is and stuff like, but we're getting there. Like, it's going in the right direction, which is really good. And I even like praised them recently. I was like, oh my gosh, like they're doing so much better. Yay, you know? Oh, desk pets. We have desk pets now. Yikes. So as soon as you walk in, there it is. There's the display.
Wow, hers is right in front of the door. Wow. And here we see the sign that they added. I think this must be what they're referring to. The add-on after the response. It's a big sign that says, don't forget my future home. It's good that they added that. Should have been there in the first place. You know what I mean? There's some situations I really appreciate when people take feedback and they make changes, and that is a good sign. But when it's something like, for instance, calling them reptiles when they're amphibians, and then not thinking about the fact you should really emphasize the future home thing a bit more, like, if there's too much of a pattern to it, inevitably they're going to make another similar mistake, because the issue is where the decisions are coming from and the intent and care behind them. So even if they keep correcting things, you know they're just going to, the concept is already kind of messed up from the beginning. So
I had a desk pet, and it looks like they did try to put some signage, like ask me about my habitat or what habitat, da da da. I don't know if all Petcos are doing that or just mine. Mine didn't have any frogs, but on one side of the display is Pac-Man frogs, and then on the back, of course, is spiders. And initially, like, I didn't think it was like that bad of an idea. Like, I was like, I mean, spiders do make great desk pets. They really do. And honestly, if I sat there and thought about it, I couldn't think of a better desk pet than a spider. Plus, you know, having it right there on display, I think it attracts people into keeping spiders, which I am all for more people keeping spiders and appreciating spiders. Like, that has been my message this entire time, is like, I want people to appreciate spiders too. But I had to sit down and kind of think about it. Who are they marketing to, and how are they marketing this? And that's when it hit me. It's almost like they're starting to market spiders the same way that they market their hamsters, or they market their betas, or they market their hermit crabs.
wait, yes, desk pets. Also, Mick said a snail's attacking my Paratus. Wait, I just realized that that camera wasn't on like the main source of the food, so I moved it a little bit. But wait, well, the Paratus is probably gonna get to eat the snail later, because I do regularly crush the snails, and they seem to like rasping on them. The spider agenda. Yo, spiders are coming for betta fish and hamsters and all those things, huh? I mean, of course, they're trying to find any pet you can keep that takes up as little space as possible. We definitely understand that, you know? That is the small pet agenda. As little footprint as you can possibly manage without having people sign too many petitions and raid your store. Yeah, I guess that's the main goal, huh? What's up, Mississippi Hippie? How's it going? Sherry, how's it going?
That's a red flag. Yes, I do want more people to keep spiders. Yes, I do want them to be mainstream. I think it's a huge deal that you can walk into like a chain pet store now and there's jumping spiders for sale. And
see, that's the thing. I do want this. I do want them to be mainstream. You know what kind of cost is going to come with that. Come on. If you want them to be mainstream, then they got to become almost overly accessible in this way, and we see how that goes, right? Good, a little bad coming with the good. Mississippi Hippie Sherry said, yeah, they don't make that much money off of selling animals themselves. They make money on selling you stuff to house them, and I feed them accessories, etc. Indeed. I mean, that's why I think it's more emphasis could have been put on the supplies underneath the pets and things like that from the get-go. Better says, problem with spiders, they're idle most of the times. I think I'd rather have an ant farm. A lot of pets seem like that's how I feel about the frogs too. All these desk pets they've picked, again, I know, isopod agenda, but like there's some other small creatures like isopods and some different stuff like that that are a little bit more active that also could be kept longer term in a container that size. JP said, what's the odds of your jumping spider jumping out and getting lost? 50-50? I have no idea. Mary Oliver said, small pets with a big price tag. I don't know that much about the price of these things, but yes, you would almost expect something on a cardboard cutout in a tiny container like this to not be $150, but here we are.
And jumping spider supplies, like what? 10 years ago, that was not a thing. Like they barely had tarantulas in pet stores. So this is like huge, you know? But we also don't want spiders to become like the new hermit crabs. And what do I mean by that? Look at this hermit
Too late.
crab kit that I found at this exact same Petco. This hermit crab kit is $38.99.
$38.99.
You know what this comes with? This piece of shit plastic. This piece of shit plastic. This piece of shit sponge.
With Merrick dog food.
We get sponge, we get plastic. What else do you need for a hermit crab? What's the problem?
Little bags of just gravel. And they're gonna be like, fine, you know, acceptable to still be on the shelves, like to still even be an option, because you know some kid is gonna want hermit crabs and their parent is gonna go up there and they're gonna be like, fine, like let's get the easiest thing. Look, this is 38 bucks. It comes with everything we need. There you go, like be happy, whatever. And they don't care if it lives or dies or whatever happens. It's a thing to them. Same for hamsters. I mean, what are these cages?
Bro, what is this? They got a dinosaur hamster cage? What in the vor torture device fantasy is this? You got the hamsters in the stomach of the dinosaur? Bro, this is not a way to live. Mick said $38.99 for that? Dang, I know. Highway robbery. Mini Minato said, tempted to get the hermit crab, but they're pretty boring and they need deep substrate. They sell the most boring stuff. Why don't we do some aquatic crabs? The panther crabs are pretty cool. Much more interesting and easy to care for, from my understanding, than hermit crabs. It is what it is. Mary Oliver said, spiders belong outside of my house, in the yard, or down in the corner of my cellar, eating bugs so they don't come upstairs to my house. Mick said, hold on now, I want that dinosaur. What are you going to use this dinosaur for, Mick?
What is supposed to go in these cages? They're gonna smell like pissy toys, and a poor animal is gonna have to live in that its entire life. It's way too...
Minamata said, vampire crabs are fire and so cool. Bro, the vampire crabs would make way better desk pets than these things, right? Because at least they stay the size. And I've seen, like Elite Menagerie Habitat, she has them in little enclosures with like a little thing of water and stuff, and they seem to do just fine waiting to be sold like that. So yeah, I feel like there are way better options than what they chose. Jumping spiders, that one seems to make sense to me. I don't know enough about tarantulas to say. The frogs, some people are saying it's fine. I guess the biggest problem is how long it takes to sell them. Their instructions seem to go against what they would need to be in there for a long period of time though, so frogs seem to be the ones that make the least sense. Nekoma said, I saw these yesterday. The spiders were so stressed. Pac-Man frogs went for 50 to 70. Spiders around 50. I did see some people saying the spiders, like, their hairs were falling out. I guess it's a sign of stress with the tarantulas. I mean, it's not a great situation.
Way too small. You can't clean these. They're just supposed to be attractive.
All right, we need to get
for
off
children.
The
it's almost like the animal, like wow, like desk pets. And what I really think it boils down to is that it's simplifying and almost like turning the spider or the animal into a decoration for a desk. Another like red flag about it is it's as soon as you walk into the store. Like as soon as you walk into the store, it's being marketed to you. Buy this animal you possibly have never even considered keeping. Because anybody who really does their research on spiders is probably not going to go to Petco to source their spiders or their kits, which there are kits for now, and we did review this one a while ago, but there's a new one, which makes sense because this is definitely not going to fit an adult Phidippus regius comfortably. But this would, and that's crazy. They even have a velvet spider on this. But why would you put a velvet spider in this? You wouldn't, right? That's kind of weird. But anyway, what I'm saying is that you walk in, here's a spider. It's a thing for your desk. Here's a kit. You don't have to think.
By the way, I put a poll, what smells worse on average, fish rooms or reptile rooms? And guys, it's 12 votes, but it's 50-50. How the chat was talking, it would seem like you would think reptile rooms would be way ahead, but apparently the reptile people, they just don't want to speak out against the fish people. They don't want to be mean. But the fish people, were in the chat speaking out, so it disproportionately, but it was 50-50. What's going on?
Don't even think about this. Buy the spider and buy the kit, and you don't even have to think about it. We've done all the thinking for you. Look, this has like everything it needs. Grab this, go pay. That's it. That's all it takes. And the way they're marketing to people who have probably done zero research or even considered keeping this kind of animal are just kind of pushed and manipulated into making these very quick decisions. Like, most people researching aren't gonna walk into the Petco, right? Like, if you're really deep into figuring out how to keep a spider, you're going to really consider, like, what kind of species do you want? Like, what kind of enclosure do you need? Is it terrestrial? Is it arboreal? And there's like an entire community.
The people that want the desk pets are definitely not asking themselves these questions. What does arboreal mean?
There's like a ton of vendors and really, really great people in the community that are breeding, vending, you know, all of that. I was thinking, okay, there's these kits for like $20, or I think this one was like 36 or something, 40, I don't remember. Regardless, like, I was thinking high dye exotic. Okay, I did a video with them a few months. You're gonna get, that's another issue, because it's like this cardboard thing that could, you know, accidents happen, like somebody could trip into it, knock it over. I mean, dogs are jumping around excited, going in and out. You know, a dog walks by the display, the leash, you know, knocks something over. It's just not great placement, and it's just not a sturdy display. And I thought it was so interesting too, because when I was looking through it, I also went to go look at their tarantulas, and sure enough, they still have all their tarantulas nicely behind glass and those nice enclosures. So why do we have like a curly hair randomly like in a thing up there that you can just grab and go? Never mind the fact that also,
this seems like a big safety issue the more I think about it. Like, okay, the frogs, if someone opened it and handled it, salmonella. I don't know. The tarantulas, don't they like shoot their hairs or something? Let's see, tarantula hairs. I don't know. You guys tell me. Is it more of a problem when someone tries to touch the tarantulas in there? They open the container. The shit moves too fast, or they try to pet it. I don't know. A lot of kids go to these pet stores too. That's another thing.
So everybody who walks in and out throughout the day is going to be like, oh, what's this? What's this animal? Look at this animal. Look at this animal. So it's like constant interaction all day with these animals getting picked up, put down, picked up, picked down. You know, I could just see somebody like grabbing a spider off the shelf and being like, boo, and like, you know, trying to scare someone with it. I could see a little.
Oh, yes. People would definitely go to and pick. Yes, bro. That's a great point. People would definitely pick up the containers to like carry around to whoever they went to the store with, and then like surprise them like, hey, look. And the thing is, people that are scared of spiders are really scared of spiders. So if you scare someone with a container of spiders, they may knock that container out of your hand. Like, have you guys ever seen someone that's actually scared of spiders, bro? They do not mess around. You put a box of spiders in their face, they're going to hit the box, and that's going to be a problem. I was asking about the dangers of the tarantula's hairs and stuff. Diana said yes with like 6 exclamation marks, and Mary Oliver said tarantula hair equals allergies, and Nico Mas said the danger is if they drop them, which definitely is up in the air. Definitely a possibility.
Little kid being like, oh my gosh, here's a frog, you know. There's no way an associate can sit there and keep their eye on them like 24/7 and supervise that. So why did we put them right there? Like, they should just be behind the glass with everything else. They could be getting picked up all day and shaken around, and that's just not ideal. But you know, here's the thing too, it's like, I don't want to totally take a dump on chain pet stores, because for some people, especially in more rural areas, that might be all they have. And, you know, I'm not trying to like shame anybody, but I am saying like, hey, there's way better options out there. There's way more people in the community who actually have a passion for this. They're not like some corporate person, like, you know, they're a small business. There's somebody in the community who has a lot more knowledge than like the typical Petco employee possibly. I mean, I know there's definitely spider people who work at Petco too and PetSmart. So, and again, like, thank goodness for that, because I would hope and I would think that a lot of those people kind of sway opinions, or at least like give accurate information. I'm sure they do. Like, I don't see this as like gatekeeping, spider keeping. Like, we can definitely call businesses out for like poor marketing. And Planet
Aquascape says, where can I sign the petition? The petition, I did put the link to the petition in the description, but I'll put the link in the chat as well. The change.org petition. Minamano said, down with Petco and big box stores. Too bad if that's their only source. Beto says, Petco has these tiny ecosystems that are self-sustaining that have plants. What do you speak of? Mary said, I remember in 8th lunch we got, there's a tarantula on a barrel of bananas. And we all screamed. The biology teacher grabbed it for his lab. Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess you can buy spiders online. Yo, are we going to become spider people after all this?
And this might be one of those times that, you know, it is a very valid thing to take issue with. And I do think that these kits are pretty cool. Like, I do think that, you know, hey, everybody starts somewhere. Like, cool. I don't think that, like, let me see. Like, last time I remember we did this, we put it together. It's like, okay, you get this, you get some substrate, you get the mister, and you get a stick. Like, that's what you get to put a jumping spider in. That. Like a while.
It does look a little bit depressing on the right with the substrate and the stick. Like, we got to put some green in there or something. Like, we got to spruce this up. This looks like, you know how they say you go to like a bachelor's house and he's got like the TV on the ground and, you know, the bed is just box springs, no frame. Like, this looks like a bachelor pad and needs a woman's touch on the right. And then this is like after he's been introduced to civil society.
A while ago, I did actually put one together, how I would keep it, like actually put one together.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how true that comparison is to me.
And like, this is what it should look like. This is what a jumping spider ideally should look like. There should be lots of hides. It should be kind of busy. They should be able to tuck away. And you can also make it look really cute. Like, it's okay to make your jumping spider or your animal's enclosure look cute for your display for a desk or whatever, but just make sure it's appropriate. This is not like, it's just not. And I
Minamato said an upside down food storage container and a backyard stick. A backyard stick. Hey, now they put some ventilation in the food storage container. Come on. Yes, that definitely costs $25, $26. Who comes up with this stuff? Come on, man. Geniuses, obviously.
And I know in the booklet it says, like, you know, you can add your own accessories and stuff too. But you know that parent that's like letting this kid get this impulse purchase, or that person, you know, they're grabbing this kit and they're like, cool, $20 and I have the whole home. That's not, you know, how we want to go about it. Here's the bigger one. Okay, I don't want to like open.
Wow, that's much bigger. This is like for storing your flour in or something.
But this actually comes with a creatures bag, which is cool. It comes with a piece of cork, spray bottle, and a plastic plant. Okay, so it looks like this door is, oh yeah, this door is much better than the door that is on the smaller one, I will say that. But yeah, it's like, it's basic, you know. We want to try to raise the standards. So, I mean, this is better from what I can see. Oh, they have a mantis on it. I don't know about that. Realistic looking plant for your creature's home. Like, if I thought people were gonna buy these and these are like just the basics, and then I knew that, you know, they're gonna add like little hides and way more foliage and stuff like that, cool. Like,
all right, well, I don't know, that seems a little optimistic, but that was a good spider view of the desk pet situation. I like this was pretty funny. I like this channel. Tarantula Kat. Oh my goodness. Should we subscribe? Bro, I gotta subscribe. I'm subscribing. Yo, if I pop up with a spider the next few months, don't roast me, man. It's not my fault. Tarantula Kat and the desk pet kerfuffle, it all worked. Petco's advertisements worked. The outrage is backfiring. I'm now watching videos about tarantulas. Oh, she got centipedes too? Oh man. Or is she feeding this in it? Oh, this is definitely a wormhole I could get down. I mean, I'm not really into spiders that much. I'm way closer to the centipede, millipede kind of situation, and maybe some crabs, maybe some dart frogs. I'm closer to that than spiders. But I like the aesthetic of inverts. Anyone can keep. I gotta take a little bit of a sideshow and check this out because I'm just curious. But the fact that non-venomous has to be emphasized is concerning. See that's when you get into the reptile spider things, like that's what I'm always concerned about. Why do people always got so many venomous, dangerous things? See, my fish are never going to venomize me. Okay, no symbiote.
So you want to get into the invert hobby.
What a jump scare. We're starting off with the giant. I said I was going to the zone. I did just mention I was closer to the zone, but these things look crazy. Look at this giant ass centipede, black with red feet, 1,000 red feet. Oh, this is okay. Let's proceed.
And you don't want anything that is venomous. I got you. Today we are going to talk about 5 inverts you can keep that are not venomous at all and are generally a lot of fun to keep. So this is not in any particular order. I'm just going to talk about my favorite non-venomous inverts, but I will say that the last one we talk about is my favorite if I had to choose. But the first one we talk about is also one of my favorites, which is
Mary said, so this girl's a jumping spider seller in disguise. I don't think she's hiding it very much. Mary said, F no to spiders. I'll let them live for the good they do, but will not buy them. Wolf spiders from the backyard make really cool webs and jars. I'm not... Okay, besides pseudoscorpions, I want to catch some pseudos. I need pseudoscorpions in my life so badly. I want pseudoscorpions. I need to go look for someone. But I'm just not a catch things out of my backyard kind of person. I gotta admit. Yes, I've collected aquatic isopods like once or twice. Usually I'm not trying to bring any back. I'm just trying to find them and look at the environment they're in. But I am not grabbing spiders and stuff from my backyard. I'm going to have to spend $200 on a spider for it to enter my house. I have to pay its entry fee. Okay, that's the only way I'm going to willingly take care of one. If I make that investment. Lisa said that was a great shriek. I appreciate it. Wasabi P said tree frog tadpoles. Well, that was a long time ago, and also they weren't in my backyard. So I'm still telling the truth. Dark Layer and Dark Den is a good channel on tarantulas. Get millipedes, they're fun. Trust, says Minamoto. Okay.
Which is Pringles, my vinegaroon. This right here is a vinegaroon, and you probably have noticed that it's missing its tail. I genuinely have no idea what happened. Like, we've been fine, and then one day I just noticed that the tail was gone. Apparently this is a thing that happens and it'll grow back. This is not a spider or a scorpion. It is...
The hell is this thing? It looks like if a cockroach grew a pair of boxing gloves on the front of its face.
Related to them, however, but it does not bite, sting, or pinch. What it does is it shakes this little stick thing on their tail. It shakes it when it feels...
It does not bite, sting, or hiss. It just shakes that ass.
Threatened, and it sprays an acid, which is just vinegar.
Oh,
now, they
perfect.
do look absolutely terrible.
Oh, wait, perfect. It shakes and sprays acid. Never mind. My bad. I thought it was going to be funny.
Threatened, and it sprays an acid, which is just vinegar. Now, they do look absolutely terrifying, though. Mine is really pretty, though. She has these, like, red antenna things.
What is the problem with these people? Yo, it's fine. It doesn't bite, sting, or hiss. It just shoots acid, which is just vinegar. But still... I feel like this is too casual. I almost prefer that it like bit or something. That seems more predictably dodge.
These guys are generally pretty easy to keep. Mine eats a ton. In fact, I think it's a little tubby, like not to shame anybody, but alternatively, if you're not into this specific one, there's also the tailless whip scorpions, which are very similar, except they're arboreal, but...
Bro, this thing looks like the head crab from Half-Life. Bro, like actually, it's actually a 1-for-1. You guys remember this? The Half-Life head crabs. I'm seeing a lot. This might be one of their earlier evolutionary stages.
Between the two, if I had to pick, I do prefer this one. And I just keep them in this Tarantula Cribs cube. It spends a lot of time inside the cork, but it does come out pretty regularly. It does take food from the tongs. This is definitely one of my top favorite non-venomous inverts. The next invert I'm gonna recommend is the hissing cockroach. I had the Halloween.
I'm out. No.
Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which I personally like better, obviously, because I love Halloween, but the regular ones are cool too. They're inexpensive because a lot of people use them as feeders, but they're actually also very personable pets. Now, I know a lot of people...
She's petting the damn cockroach.
People are freaked out by keeping roaches because they're afraid that they're gonna procreate too much and escape and infest their house. The Halloween ones that I kept, unfortunately, never bred, and I actually wanted them to, but the conditions have to be like a certain way.
Wasabi said, I love cockroaches in theory, but I'm terrified of infestations. Yeah, I mean, at least something this big, I don't see an infestation happening. And I'm sure some of them have some specific climate conditions, some of these bigger ones. I'm just disturbed because I know that people probably eat these things. You know, I'm just imagining what it would be like to bite into one of these. That just keeps coming to my head. It's like an invasive thought. That's what's disturbing me.
And if you're not recreating those conditions, then typically they're not really going to breed. And if they do, it won't be much. These guys are very handleable. They don't mind being handled at all. They do make the little hissing noise if they get uncomfortable.
Mary Oliver said, this girl scares me. Bro, you're scared of green-haired girls with nose rings and glasses and tattoos and 500,000 spiders and pseudo scorpion spider contraptions you never heard of? What's scary about that?
Oh my goodness. So pretty.
Oh my God, they're that loud?
Comfortable. Oh my goodness.
That's a scorpion.
So pretty. And they're very easy to keep. You can keep them in a bin if you don't want anything fancy, or you can set up a nice little enclosure like I did for my Halloween hissing cockroaches. I fed mine carrots a lot. They really like carrots. They like pretty much anything you give them. Dog.
Can you imagine? The only thing that makes a bug type thing worse is if it can scream at you. That's like the... I'm just like, you look at a spider, a scorpion, whatever it is, the only thing that could make it creepier is if it could just make a loud noise. And these hissing cockroaches, they got it.
Dog food, even cat food, fish food, all of that. And yeah, obviously they're not gonna hurt you. The only thing is that their poop can irritate some people's allergies. So just be aware of that, especially if you're like deep cleaning. I would mask up just because you don't wanna be exposed to their poop too much, or you can actually build an allergy to it over time. Now
oh, fantastic. Mary says, not the bugs she likes them too much. Diana says, the only roaches allowed in my house have 2 legs. That's, of course, Diana Roach saying this, so the official statements come out. I appreciate that. You know, the house is only big enough for one kind of roach, I suppose. The ones with 2 legs, so you gotta lay down your boundaries somewhere.
Now let's talk about mantis. I have a love-hate relationship with mantis because they are a little bit more fragile and short-lived than other inverts, specifically spiders, but they are very rewarding to keep and grow out. I've kept various kinds of mantis. I've had really good luck with some species and I've had not so good luck with other species. You do have to be more conscious of their humidity and their diet compared to other inverts. Like, you can't get away with as much as you could with like a roach or even a spider. Be aware of what species of mantis you get because they're not all the same and some of them have a little bit more intermediate requirements than the other.
These mantises look like creatures from another dimension. Mick said, was watching this from now on, I'll never complain when my mom asked me to get rid of a spider. Hilarious. Was about to fall asleep over here, not anymore. Big Steve said, I really enjoyed keeping that ghost mantis. Mantis seem pretty cool. Okay, this is the first one on the list I'm most on board with.
But it's all doable as long as you do your research. They're definitely way more interactive than a tarantula or a spider, and they do tolerate some handling. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a mantis.
See, Mick said mantises. Now we're talking. See? Okay, this list has gotten a lot better.
It's for a kid unless they're like very gentle with their hands. Their setups can also be a little bit more complicated because they do need height to do some molting. So be aware of however you're setting them up. You can do like a plastic deli when they're smaller, but as they get bigger, you might need to go all the way up to like a small Exoterra or Tarantula Cribs treehouse. Just make sure there's mesh on the top because they do need that mesh to molt. molt. They'll hold on and they will like slowly emerge and kind of fall. And if they don't have that space and that depth to molt, then they will die during the molt. So very important. Again, definitely make sure you do the research into whatever species you like. All in all, they make great pets as long as you're aware of all of that. Now,
Twix bits are creamy.
Mary Oliver said, praying mantis, state of Rhode Island. My big bro put one down my shirt when I was younger. They pinch and bite. Yikes. Yeah, it's not one I want to have put on my shirt.
A little bit more hardy and a lot less high maintenance, then we're gonna talk about beetles.
Okay, this is one of the ones I've been looking at the most.
Specifically the death feigning beetles. These were the first pet that I actually got Fiona, and she took care of them pretty much by herself. If you have a kid that's like begging you to get into spiders or something and you wanna start somewhere a little bit less intimidating with an animal that certainly won't hurt you, death feigning beetles are great. You can do a communal with them. They can be kept with a variety of other beetles and insects. Even velvet ants do well in setups with them, which is pretty freaking cool. But don't.
Okay guys, we're doing death feigning beetles at some point this year. As I continue my consolidation, well, we got to do them. I feel like they're cool. That'd be a fun, challenging breeding project too. I think it's like way more work than it's worth it. It's just kind of a cool thing to do.
Don't get a kid a velvet ant because very painful sting. But yeah, they're super cool. You can set up a whole community tank with them. They do not need any humidity. In fact, too much humidity can actually be dangerous for them. So really just like some fresh carrots here and there should be enough for them to like be hydrated. The ones that we kept, we mainly fed like fish food and little pieces of carrots and just like whatever scraps we had. They seemed to enjoy all of it. So they were not picky at all. Their bodies are really, really hard. They have this very hard armor. Not even a tarantula fang could pierce it. Like, it's very hard. So if they do take an occasional tumble, you don't really need to worry about them getting hurt except on their legs. So again,
so we can play catch with them. Fantastic.
And you know, you don't want to be throwing them around, but
God damn it.
If you have a kid, you know, and one kind of rolls off their hand onto the floor from like this height, like generally they'll be okay. And they're really cool because they do have quite a long lifespan. I believe it's up to 8 years, but do be aware that they are generally all wild caught. So by the time they're getting caught and brought into like pet stores, you don't know how old they are. They could already be 7 years old. They could be 1 year old, you know, so you don't really know for sure how long you're gonna have them. But if you're getting like a nice little communal, I would say grab like a good solid 5 of them, and you know, it's a lot of fun. Get like a 10-gallon, fill it with.
This is the desk pet, man. This is it. The death feigning beetle. Why didn't they do this?
Sand, lots of cholla wood, and even though the fake little cactus, they love to climb. They are pretty active, but yeah, they do play dead, so be aware. Even if they look dead, give them a couple hours because they might surprise you. I've had them play dead for like 45 minutes up to like almost 2 hours. Just be aware that they will fake their death, hence death feigning beetles. Now lastly, we are gonna talk about my favorite non-venomous invert to keep. And no, these are not their official home enclosures. This is just for now.
All right, guys. I'm closing the poll. Reptile rooms ended up being the smelliest. 23 votes, 65% said reptile rooms versus fish rooms. So as soon as I said something, the fish room people came out to defend. We got a new poll that's going to come up. It's going to be, are you open to keeping this last thing she's introducing? I think, I'm curious how open-minded you guys are.
But check out this. Oh my goodness. Hi. Millipedes. Millipedes are my favorite non-venomous invert to keep. They are so cool. They come in a variety of species, sizes, colors. You can get like little ones that look like roly-polies, or you can go up to these big, pretty ones. And oh my gosh, this girl is like my absolute favorite millipede that I've ever kept. I love her so much. Now, of course, these setups are just temporary, but you can set up a really cool big display tank for something like this. Or
bro, look how giant. I would say the colors are super cool. The colors are cool. She holds all this stuff too casually for me. I think that's the chart. I want to see them in the pretty enclosures. Seeing someone hold it and stuff is a little I gotta warm up to it, bro. I gotta warm up. But there's someone in the Discord that keeps a couple of these, so I'm a little bit interested. I don't have the space or ability to keep them anytime soon. So, but like, I don't know. It's cool. But I put a pull up. Would you keep a giant millipede? Mick said, I want a pet I can look in the eyes. What the hell? That's an interesting requirement, but I can rock with that.
Or you can do a Big Ben, which we're gonna do some Big Bens for these guys, I think. So there's been some debate on what kind of species these are. This is what I think it's settled on. The giant African millipedes are also really awesome to keep. I very much recommend those. They're definitely much easier to find as well, and probably less expensive than these, although they're definitely much easier to find as well, and probably less expensive than these, although they're definitely much easier to find as well, and probably less expensive than these, although their price tag is unfortunately still a little high. But millipedes pretty much eat whatever you throw in there. I like to give mine mushrooms, and so they'll happily munch away on mushrooms. Fish food, I give them leftover turnips and
China said I couldn't afford all the shoes. You're silly. Buy the shoes for all your millipedes.
Collard greens that my bearded dragon didn't eat. Oh, I give them turtle food sometimes, like the kind that has like little peas and stuff in it. They'll just eat that as well. But yeah, it kind of took a little bit for me to be won over by these guys, but I'm obsessed. And yeah, definitely stay tuned for their big tubs. I'm like debating on if I should keep them together or not, because there's been some debate on like if these are the same species, but I guess they are. It's very weird. But yeah, those are my favorite non-venomous.
Okay, guys, what do you think about that list? Jacob said mites and millipedes have a symbiotic relationship. If I'm not mistaken, the mites will eat parasites. Oh, that would be, I could believe that. Her millipede be tripping on mushrooms. She did say she likes to sell them mushrooms. I'll be honest, I got a little distracted from the Petco desk pets thing. It's just this world of different invertebrates and things like that is fascinating, you know. It's always some new rabbit hole to go down. And she got chickens. All roads lead to chickens, man. I freaking knew it. All roads lead to chickens. Of course there's chickens. See, that's the thing. Everything. Eventually you're gonna want a chicken. That's the problem, man. That's what I'm afraid of. Steve said, what kind of killie was it that I pointed out in your fish room that I said ate my red lizard whiptail? And Steve said that's a hell no on the millipede. Steve, you have giant snakes you just casually picked up. Why are you scared of millipedes? And the one you pointed out was Epiplates rolafi, Steve. This is the killifish you pointed out. Wait. Ivory millipede, the best pet invertebrate? Hold up.
This is definitely one of my favorite millipede species. Hi, Russ of Aquariumex here. Are ivory millipedes the best pet invertebrate? Well, today, after a short introduction to the species, we'll talk about housing and care, and then the pros and cons of keeping ivory millipedes, so you can come to your own conclusion. The ivory millipede...
There's a time code saying threats?
When we hit the pothole.
Why is there a time code that says threats on here? The millipede's gonna threaten me, and it's the best pet?
Really all perfect size for a pet millipede myself. Another con, and this is a con that really...
I will say these look cool, and they look a much more manageable size. I'm on board with this.
All millipedes share, is that if they feel threatened or uncomfortable, they will often release something called a repugnatorial fluid.
Excuse me? Oh, and he's got it on his finger. It's like an orange liquid, like a dark orange, almost, okay, brownish.
Threatened or uncomfortable, they will often release something called a repugnatorial fluid. And this is a substance that has kind of a strong smell to it, and it will stain your skin if it stays on your skin for too long.
It will stain your skin? Wasabi P said that's a bonus for me. What is wrong with you? Snake eyes got eyes. You can predict where it's heading. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I can predict where a snake is going to head, Nick. a repugnatory fluid is definitely a big con, but also if I had giant millipedes, I don't think I'm going to be holding them.
It's a great way to defend themselves from predators, but it's kind of unpleasant when it gets onto us. Now, if you rinse it off right away, it won't stain, but if you let it sit there and dry on your skin will get a stain for a few days. It's not a big deal.
A few days?
And in this species of millipede, it's not particularly dangerous, but just in case you have a sensitivity or something, I would go ahead and wash it off as soon as it happens. And then, of course, you don't have to deal with the stain. I was marked by the fluid yesterday on this finger, but you can't see it because I rinsed it off. Now, one aspect of owning ivory millipedes that some people might consider a con, I don't really, but some people might, is that they can be inclined to nibble on you very gently if they're feeling particularly hungry, especially if they want a little bit of protein. So sometimes when you pick them up, if they haven't had a proteinaceous snack in a little while, or if they're just feeling curious about what they're sitting on, they may well nibble on you very, very lightly. It doesn't.
Okay, they might start trying to eat you. There's a light con. Wasabi said another plus. Jesus Christ. Mary said, I'm getting me a millipede assassin bug just in case. Diana Roach said, nope, no repugnatorial fluids for me. The repugnatorial fluids is definitely a big... I mean, I'm not going to be holding them. I'm not totally against these. If I had a cool enclosure where I could watch them in. Because I feel like a lot of people keep these. You kind of have to open the tub and take them out to even see them. You know. Beto said, millipedes are okay, I'd keep one. Diana said, I'd rather have a tarantula. Now, I put up a poll, would you keep a giant millipede? Only 10 people have voted so far. But 70% say hell no, and only 30% say hell yes. So, yo, if you're fans of the millipedes, you better vote, because right now it's looking bad for the millipedes in the poll.
Doesn't hurt, it kind of tickles actually, in my opinion. But it might surprise some people, so that's just something to keep in mind. So, what do you think? Are ivory millipedes the best pet invertebrate? Let me know in
the best pet. I think that's a little bit much. Oh my God, we have millipede tier list. Which is the best pet millipede? Okay, guys, we got to get to the bottom. I'm sorry. I know I've been on this millipede thing, but this is just fascinating. I have to know, what is the best pet millipede out of all of them? Maybe this video is going to be what turns the poll positive.
A lot of people have been asking me recently which is the best pet millipede, or which millipede is the most active, which millipede is bigger or smaller, which millipede is prettier, which millipede has more coloration. So this is the video in which I make a comparison of the 9x10 millipedes that we have in our store. We have 10 millipedes, but right now one of them is out of stock. We currently don't have it, so...
Mary Oliver said, if all else fails, I have a 45 caliber handy. That's, come on, bro.
Millipede. Bumblebees, I'm comfortable with millipedes and their numerous legs. I'm gonna start with bumblebees. Bumblebees and scarlet millipedes are about the same size. They're both found in Florida, and I do love how they look. This is a bumblebee millipede. You can see the yellow and black coloration. They get bigger than this. They get up to 2.5 inches or 2 inches, which is not too much.
The colors
but
are cool.
They're smaller millipedes. The next one I want to show you guys is the scarlet millipede, which has a really nice red, bloody almost coloration. It's not active right now. It's a little scared, but it is really pretty. They are not the most active ones. So I think these are really similar to the bumble.
Steve said, so-and-so brought home a millipede, so I started blasting.
Bumblebees, since they're found in the same region, they get a little bigger than this. To some people if you are allergic to it, but I always handle them without gloves and nothing happens to me or most people who handle them. Super fun millipedes. I think they get a little bigger than this, but that is pretty much the size of an adult millipede. And I love them. They're super fun, super nice to hold, and they're super active, super nice. So if you guys want...
Super nice to hold. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get off this millipede thing. We've gotten too far for now. So Beto says they're harmless. No, they got a repugnatory fluid. That's harmful to me. Mary said, "Is millipede be superworm size? That's okay, but the hand-sized ones, yikes." Spoke too soon. So on the millipedes, it seems like you guys are overwhelmingly on the hell no side. We're gonna have to work on that. But how do we feel? We've kind of gone over the desk pets thing, I think, pretty exhaustively. I think we've done a good job. What are your final thoughts on this whole desk pets thing? Does any of their explanations make it better? Does their signs and stuff emphasizing it's temporary, does that fix it? Is there anything that can fix it? Or are you just totally like, we can't stand this, we got to get rid of the desk pets forever? I just feel like the marketing of the desk pet thing, a certain amount of people is always going to find that problematic. I feel like they could have chosen better things to make desk pets. That's kind of how I feel. At the bare minimum, if you're gonna do it, I think you should have chosen some different critters. Because I'm not so sure about this. Beto says, I say no to desk pets. Jacob says, I think it's a bad idea in general. They're definitely trying too hard. Mick says they're trying to get away with it. Yeah, I do think they're trying to get away with it. Normalize it till no one reacts any longer. Yeah, perhaps. I do really like these pellets, man, because they don't fall. These ones, I got a bunch of stuff in this Ken's Fish order, which I think I'm not feeling too good. So I don't think we're gonna do the full Ken's Fish thing this stream. I think I'll have to get on next stream and like, maybe tomorrow, early tomorrow, I'll like feed all the different foods and show it on stream. If that sounds fun to you guys. But I tried a few foods. The earthworm sticks got great responses. I got a bunch of different stuff with varying ingredients. I got some stable pellets. Ken's Aqua Stable Pellets. I got these because I need something that doesn't break down as fast in the water to help lure out aquatic isopods and other stuff like that. So the first ingredient on these is wheat flour, then it's fish meal, then soy protein concentrate. So I'm not really trying to feed this to a lot of fish necessarily, but it's great for luring out snails so I can get rid of them. I'm also going to try it as a grindleworm food. You know, some people use like cat food and stuff. I want to try it for that too. And things like that. So I didn't have like a bigger pellet that I could use to lure a bunch of stuff at once. This isn't what's on the screen right now. That is these, which is Ken's Premium Krill Pellets. The first ingredient on these is fish meal, then krill meal, then fish oil. That's the top three. 48% protein and 20% fat. I'm probably gonna put these in the freezer. Store these in the freezer because that's a lot of fat. But I think it'll be better for some of my bottom feeders and help do another thing to help kind of get things fattened up a bit. Mary Oliver said, maybe the cashier said, oh, that's just a transport cage. You got different enclosures at home, they get huge. Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do the Ken's Fish thing tomorrow because I want to do a proper feed everything, and lights are turning off now and stuff. But I guess the last thing to ask really on this desk pet situation is this animal abuse? That's the question. Is it animal abuse? Because we have seen some people say that the temporary enclosures, they're fine. It's just the frogs, when they get bigger, it's going to be a problem, stuff like that. Fish and J says that Paradocinklus heroldi. Yep. This is one of my auto tanks. It's just autos and shrimp for the most part. And aquatic isopods, of course. Those with keen eyes will have seen many aquatic isopods go by throughout this stream. So I think we're in the let's look around. Maybe I'll show a few things on camera, but Fish and Jay said do not look as good as they do in the pics, TBH, but that goes for most fish. I think they look, let's see. It depends. Sometimes they look more washed out than others. This one I feel like they look like they do in the pictures. But they do kind of have a range of being super dark with the spots versus being a little bit more yellow, washed out yellow. Shout out to Just One More Fish, man, because that's where I got these shrimp from. These are the ocean blue shrimp. I wanted another blue shrimp line since I kind of messed up my last one. And I had a lot of these are first round of babies that I've gotten. And there's only one that I took out that I would say is a coal so far. But I haven't looked super hard. But I'm pretty optimistic. They got good color on them. For show. Oh, wait. There's another, let's see. I think this auto looks pretty good. Look how much algae is growing on these pieces of slate. And we get the aquatic isopods. Come on. Now this is a good shot. Isopod propaganda. I haven't seen too many small isopods, so I think that there's a decent chance the heroldi might actually eat some of the smaller ones. But I do also have a mono shrimp in here that probably eat the smaller ones too. But the bigger isopods I do see pretty regularly in this tank. Steve said, have you gotten any breeding out of those autos? I have not, but some of the stuff I've read about them, I do think it might take a while for them to reach. There's a couple things that I can try still. I think it might take a while for them to reach the size. They seem to be a pretty long-lived fish. But on top of that, there are some that are starting to act differently. They're starting to kind of take up little caves. So there's some behavioral stuff that I think is interesting and seems to be a sign of maturation, but nah, I haven't got any breeding out of them. Nick said, I'm tempted to buy some cribs for the first time in 30 years. The subsalatus on my LFS looking so cute. Do it. Subsalatus is on my list for sure. Mary Oliver says, great stream. Shirley calling. She's live and I'm late. Appreciate you stopping by, Mary. Have a good time over there. One of my mono shrimp released a bunch of larvae, but I did not feel like setting up the tank the other day, so I'm going to have to wait for another time. But one of them did already release some. But yeah, these autos, they really like the crevices. That's why I have the stacked slate like this. Nigerian Reds, that's a good crib. I'd probably go for the subsalatus, subocellatus, but that's just because they're rarer to me. Nigerian Reds I don't see in stores that much either, but JP Jeffries says you don't think it's fish abuse? Not really. Most pets from Petco are doomed anyway. That's an optimistic way of looking at it. I appreciate that from you, JP. I appreciate that good energy you're projecting out. They're all gonna die anyway. That's the problem. I respect it. I respect it. Ooh. Let me see. I'm going to move the camera in a second. See if there's anything else going on you guys can take a look at. A lot of the lights are turning off. Do you guys think that this desk pet situation is going to last? Or that Like, do you think it's ultimately going to be a failure, or do you think they're going to persevere through and ultimately they'll find a way to make it work? That's one of the top things I'm kind of wondering about. It kind of seems like they're strapping in to make it work. I'm not gonna lie. They might be dedicated. They might be dedicated to this one. I don't know if the anti-desk pet people are going to win out. Oh my gosh, bro. I have so many of these Dalmatian Porcelio Warnerites. I'm excited. All right. Let's see what else we can see real quick. Oh! Well, there's a... I mean, I don't think anything's going to come of it, unfortunately. But, check this out. I guess I was right about the Tinacara candidai. The female is on some eggs right now. You can see back there. There's maybe about like 20 of them. She do not like the camera. She's already mad at coming out the cave. She did come out the cave like this when I was just looking earlier. Now, Steve and Mick and other people that breed a lot of fish, let me know. I always get nervous when I see eggs that are this white, because to me that always seems like they're unfertilized. But I think some things do have lighter eggs, so I'm not really sure if I should just go off of that or not. But the eggs are pretty white to me. Steve Mick says, my guess they'll have to remove some of the animals they have in those boxes, but not all of them. Okay. I love both of your catfish there. Thanks, Mick. Thank you. Mick said, what do you feed her? I've been feeding her a lot of stuff. Definitely a lot of grindle worms, a lot of some of the peanut beetle larvae, a lot of live stuff. Some of the different Daphnia and things like that. I feel like they've been getting a good diet. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything where people talk about what color these eggs are. So what color are Tinacara candidai eggs? Let me see if I can find, because there was a photo I had seen of them somewhere. Some eggs. Color. Nope, that one doesn't have color on the eggs. Also, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between white eggs and like a light yellow. She's been taking care of them for like a day or two. I don't know if they were infertile, if she would have just eaten them by now or not. Let me see. There's one place says that the eggs are white. One second. So on this forum thread, I'll put the link in the chat. On this forum thread from 2011, this person says that they're creamy white with a hint of yellow. Creamy white with a hint of yellow. So maybe they are fine. Let's see. Nick says, Grindle explains the color on the eggs. Depends on what you're feeding them. They look okay, in my opinion. Oh, shit. Okay. So she seems to be very active, taking care of them. I'm kind of worried. I do see like one or two smaller bladder snails in there. In the cave. And part of me... Now, good parents seem to keep the snails off pretty well. And that... Oh, shit. Yeah, that looks like she just hit the snail off. So maybe I don't need to worry about it. But that's actually kind of cool. You guys see that? She just smacked that snail. Holy. So, I don't know. You guys know I always talk about maybe removing stuff I never do. But I don't want to bother her either. I do want to take the male out, maybe. He's kind of hiding in the plants in the front. So it's actually a decent amount of leaves and stuff in the front that kind of make a wall. That's where I've been seeing him typically. And then in the back, there's some moss in the sponge filter. He hasn't seemed like particularly like she's harassed him or anything, but that's one thing I'm considering. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts. So Tenacara Candidae eggs. I kind of have my concerns about snails, but realistically, if she's a good parent, that should be fine. I have my concerns about the male, removing him. But if I remove him, I probably want to put him in a tank that I'm eventually going to put her in after. I might take Steve's suggestion of just removing the parents after the fryer going around. Diana said, will snails eat Ellison or Gavota eggs? I think snails will eat all eggs, honestly. I really hate snails. I think they eat eggs. If fungus, they'd look worse, like softer and get swollen. She's doing the job. Okay. Then I'll leave it alone, Mick. I would say this is day 2 of the eggs being in there. So hopefully we get some kind of progression. I want to add a heater to their tank. I want to add some heaters to a few tanks. It's been on my list. I'm just kind of scared to do it. Any other fish dithers? Nope. This tank is just, there used to be some, it's a smaller tank. It's a 5-gallon, so I used to have some killies in there with them. But once they started laying eggs regularly, I took them out. Steve said ramtorms 100% eat eggs. Yeah. So I see her knocking the snails out. That's one of the reasons I wanted these stable pellets, because I'm probably going to put them in the corner in the front so that they lure snails to it and I can take the snails out. Because I'm still desnailing a lot of tanks. A lot of tanks. I think they're just absolute terrors to fish breeding success. So I'm removing them constantly. My Congo puffers, I don't even dump them all in the Congo puffer tank because I feel like I'm feeding them too many. Like I'm taking out that many snails from the different tanks. But I also feed snails to my isopods too. So I am kind of a... Snails really should run and hide from me. I'm a mass murderer of snails at this point. I don't like killing things, but it's just a necessity. I have to, unfortunately for them. But there you go. You know what? This is nice that I'm catching this. Some pretty decent footage of this kind of decently uncommon fish, although it seems like they're becoming more common. You can see the male lurking in the background, kind of taking care of her eggs. I'm gonna move the camera though now because she seems to, that's kind of, I had these stuff stacked in front of the tank partially just so she'd be less disturbed when I'm moving around the fish room. So here's an example. I put one of the pellets in here. Oh, I'll show you guys the Malawa shrimp. I do have the Malawa shrimp. I cleared their tank out a bit so I could actually see them. So this is an example of one of the pellets I put in just to draw out all the snails. Diana said isopods eat snails. I'm feeding them, my terrestrial isopods. I feed them to my terrestrial isopods. They love eating the dead snails. You'll see if she's getting way too aggressive towards them. Yeah. I don't know if they co-parent at all. That's going to be the test. because right now she's worried about the cave and things like that. It's like with angels, in my opinion, unexperienced, I might go for the eggs after some. So Mick seems to think that she'll be fine against the snails. But the tank's gone off. The Pistogramma Nisani also has fry right now, so that's kind of nice. There's also some more guppy fry I'm seeing, so I might want to scoop those out. Excuse me. I was talking about Steve's Rams. Oh wait, I missed that then. Oh, the ram. No, he's saying the ram's horn snails, Mick. He said the ram's horn snails eat eggs, not the rams. Not the rams, the fish. He's the ram's horn snails. He said inexperienced ram's horns might eat the eggs. Holy. All right. So this tank, I kind of pushed back the mass of moss from the front that was keeping me from seeing anything. And you can see all the plants left that was under it are all, they're all just starting to grow leaves because they had lost them all. But I have my OG yellow shrimp that I oversold a bit. And then all those clear shrimp back there, those are the Malawa shrimp I bought at the Diamond State auction. And I'll see if I can zoom in on here. Bro, I misplaced my macro lens. I have to go back. There's one stream, if anyone finds it, there's one stream where I switched lenses. And ever since then, I cannot find my macro lens. Bro, there's only like a few safe places I can put them. It's actually driving me crazy. I really can't replace that thing. So that's one. If you guys have been wondering where all the nice macro footage on stream went, that's why I can't find that thing. So yeah, there's the Malawa shrimp there. Mick said it's 6 a.m. here. My bad. Time for some sleep. Yo, go to sleep, Mick. Jeez, that's very late. Appreciate you hanging out though. That's good. And I was not going to stream tonight at all. I was not feeling it, but every now and then I can overcome for your benefit. Because when I was looking just being honest, I was looking in the Discord, everyone is like, we need a stream. I just had to pull it. I was like, look, I think I can pull together a stream. People are just directly saying they need a stream right now. If I can make an improvement in at least a handful of people's day, I guess it's worth it for me to put it together. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the stream. You've had a good one. I see Beto said it's been a long one. I'm about to get out. So I feel like I've done my job. I've sent you guys all to bed. This is good. If you're on the replay crew, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you as always. If you're watching live and been chatting, appreciate you, Mick, Beto, Big Steve, Homestead Reptiles, new one in the chat, appreciate you. Fish NJ, stopping in. Dwarf Cyclidia, of course. Mini Minato, stopping by, appreciate you as well. Wasabi P, Cackerel, Mary Oliver holding down the chat. Platinum Aquascapes, I know you're in there somewhere. Signing the petition, appreciate you. Diana Roach holding it down. Yo, Diana came out of nowhere like in the last few weeks. Bought a freaking membership and holds it down in chat every time. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. JP Jeffries, Mississippi Hippie, coming through. Appreciate you as well. 186, Lisa the Wolf, also someone that's been a little bit newer, that's been joining us regularly. Appreciate you holding down the chat. Fish Capades, coming on through. Appreciate you as well, holding it down there. And a couple fish. You did stop by for a second. Nekomas 78 coming through. I'm just reading all the names I see as I scroll up. I hit the top of my history. Jacob, thank you for coming through. As always, appreciate you, my guy. And if I missed your name, my apologies. Beto said, thanks, Nix. Your efforts are definitely appreciated. Diana, for the win. Let's go. The only roach accepted on 2 legs. I said, it's great, Nix. Thanks, Sleep. You've been very informative for my 7 months of experience. I'm not that long in this hobby, so it wasn't that long ago that I was looking for a stream to hang out on, so that I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. We're gonna keep rocking, keep commenting. Let me know in the Discord what we should chat about the next few streams or whenever. And you know, not every time you guys harass me, I'm be able to hop on, but this time definitely you harassed me into a stream. So pat yourselves on the back. But thank you. I hope everyone's day got better. And you know, when times are tough, what else do we have but other human beings around us, you know, even across the internet. So shout out to you guys, Isopod Agenda Pod Squad. What's up, smart person? I see you in the chat. Said woke up early. I'm just signing off, but appreciate you stopping by. Giving an unscheduled talk about fish and tech at the conference today, smart person. Ooh, good luck to you. That sounds exciting. Shit, unscheduled talk. Bro, maybe you gotta come on stream with a presentation. Beto said vibes forever. Indeed, indeed. Crazy. It's just crazy, man. Mick said much love to you all. Hug the ones you love. Andy Carson, what's up? And good night. Good night to you as well. Appreciate you stopping by to say good night in the chat. I'm gonna wrap this up. You guys already know all the things I could say about what I typically say. You know, if you're in the replay crew, leave a comment, all that. But I had a great time this stream. Maybe we're gonna have to get a spider person on here or something. That was kind of fascinating. I feel like I feel like I am so interested though, like the feigning death beetles and some of that stuff. Like the well's gonna break eventually. JP Jeffrey says fire Saturday stream. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, JP. Well, let me stop yapping. They already say I take the longest to wrap up stream out of everyone. Have a good night. I'm heading out. This has been In My Tanks. Please take care of yourselves. I'm out.